All right, and we're live. Welcome everybody to the go. Wow, that's how you start off a podcast, right there, my
Crushing
friend.
it.
Oh, awesome! Welcome to the show without a name, everybody. Tonight, I'm lucky enough to have Game Pass Dad. Or I got a question for you. Is it uh Friedrichs or Fredericks?
Fredericks.
It is Fredericks.
Friedrichs.
Well, because there's an E at the end, and that just messes my brain up.
Oh, the ER or it's
Yeah, right. Because it's ER. It's right.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, does that E make the other E a long? All right, perfect. Bob Fredericks. Welcome to the show, my man. I'm so glad to finally sit down with you and have this opportunity to do this. I know we've been talking about it for a couple months now.
Yeah, dude.
So it's all timing. It's always about timing, right?
Right.
But I want, first of all, why don't you tell everyone who doesn't know you, which I think most people that will watch probably will, but why don't you tell everyone just a little bit about yourself? And I got a few questions I kind of want to ask you.
Yeah. My name's Bob. I've been a stand-up comedian. Well, I'm from Michigan. That might be a good place to start. Flyover state. I don't know. It's nice here. But I've been a stand-up comedian, traveling around the country a little bit. But I've been a comedian for about 10 years now, since 2011. So if the world hadn't ended, we'd be going on a decade of straight grabbing mics and stage time wherever I could and producing shows. Which, I mean, yeah, I'm definitely, I'm professional, but not successful, like commercially successful comedian. And now, ever since like the pandemic has happened, I kind of was trying to find a great way to, or at least a creative outlet and a good way to connect with people still, and have turned to Twitch and become a Twitch streamer. And I created GamePassDad, and like a whole avenue of content creation, which when I started it, I wasn't really sure what it was going to turn into, but it's kind of a combination of like my love of video games and stand-up, or my love of video games and my sense of humor. And there's also stand-up comedy, and eventually I want to grow it into something more. But yeah, I'm a dad, I'm a streamer, I'm a comedian, I'm an asshole, like whatever you want to know or whatever you think. It's all good.
Well, I mean, and that's and on top of it all, you do a job on top of all that too,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So I mean,
I have a day job.
dude, you're a fucking trooper, man. Like, you're not a big suck like me. This is all I do, or attempt to do, is more like it. But yeah, this is it
Oh,
for me. So I'm very lucky that way.
I also have two podcasts as well, so which
Look
I'm
at you
not
go.
doing very well keeping up with either of them. So it's a juggling act for sure.
Well, it's definitely a full plate, especially when you're trying to focus on like growth on all the platforms all together. It can definitely keep you going. But I definitely wanted to talk to you about comedy because you're like the first person that I know that actually has gone out and done it and grinded and tried to
Yeah.
make their way through the comedy scene, as it were. Um, the way things are, because like you said, the world came to an end and everything just
Yeah.
totally changed for you. Where do you think comedy is going right now, and where do you think it's going to be? Like, do you think it's going to come back? We're going to see something normal, or because like I know what you're doing on Twitch, and I love it. And by the way, I'm not going to message you. I'm going to ask you now. I would love to be in Discord, part of
Oh, for sure,
the live
man.
end. But yeah, and I love how you're doing that end of things, and bringing Discord into a live audience. But what are you thinking? Like, what's the future of comedy? You think it's going to get back to normal?
I mean, I feel like as long as there is like a way to do it safely, I don't see why it's not going to come back. And as we've seen already, I mean, like the vaccines seem to be working and like rates are going down. Like there's people that would still be doing it if if they let them pack theaters full of people. Like the only thing that's really keeping it from happening is laws and the willingness for a crowd to show up. There's always going to be someone who's trying to be a comedian that is going to, like, if even if the building was on fire, there is somebody out there who would be willing to get up on that stage and try and perform if it meant that they'd be in front of someone. And I don't even need to get into the implications or be um, cynical about what their motivations are, but it's just like there's always going to be someone, no matter what, that is willing to try and push it and make their living. Some people, like, that's the only thing they can do to make their living. It's like they get to a certain level with it. Like, I mean, for me, I happen to do customer service, and I've gotten to a certain level with it where there's not really anything else that I could probably do for a day job unless I can make this content creation and my stand up and the whole combination of everything that I'm trying to do a thing. But that's how it is. Like, once you become at that level, it's like maybe that's what you're trying to do for a living. Like, there's a lot of people that would go do that fire in the theater stage for free, just to try and make a name for themselves. But yeah, it's definitely going to come back. And honestly, once it's safe enough to do so, once the audiences are comfortable um, being back in person, we're going to see probably a long time where it's going to be. I don't know how long, like like really I don't know how long like the shine is going to remain, but probably for the next couple of years at the very least, we're going to see a big boom in live entertainment for sure until like the next big thing happens, I'd say. Kind of like the Roaring Twenties, I would imagine, dude. I think we might be doing that again real soon.
Yeah, I
Um,
think so too. I mean, we're all pent up, right? So
yeah,
as soon as we can let loose, everyone's gonna let loose. And yeah, I totally hear how I think things will be very exciting. I know right now, Joe Rogan is working on turning Texas into a comedy mecca, as it were.
yeah.
Now, have you had any thoughts of that end of things, or what's going on there? Do you think it's a positive or negative?
Like trying to move to Texas, or Joe Rogan like creating like his own compound or whatever. Like I honestly haven't really been paying attention to Joe Rogan lately, but I know he moved to Texas,
Well,
and
yeah,
then Texas blew up. Uh,
that's the thing. He's moved the Texas, and basically he's trying to turn Texas into what LA or what California had for comedy,
right,
and bring that to Texas. And so far, it looks like he's doing a really good job. There's a lot of comedy clubs, I guess, popping up, because I guess they're like everything's good to go. They're all normal.
right.
They're all doing
Oh,
normal
okay.
stuff, right? So I guess
Yeah.
even himself is looking into opening his own comedy club,
Oh,
whether
that'd
or
be
not it's
dope.
with other comedians or what have you. But that interests me because I feel like over this pandemic, that's one thing I've really lacked is like that comedy, that fresh comedy.
Right,
You know, a lot of things you're seeing now is just reclips of other stuff. People just trying to keep themselves out there and people remembering them. But there doesn't seem to be anything new or too overly amazing um, right now, at least.
right. Well, I mean, it's like how many hard times though has Texas already gone through because of like their policies, or I mean, we could get into the politics of it, and I don't even know the right way to say, but I mean, for me personally, like I do not have to be on a stage to support my family right now. Like, would I love it to be the other way and be successful enough at that in order to make it a career? Like, that'd be great. But at the same time, like, it's the type of thing where if I could do something else not to put someone else at risk or like gather people right now, I just don't feel like that's the best thing to do. Like, yeah, most people are going to be all right. Yeah, it's like 3 to 5% could die or be permanently maimed, or probably a higher percentage. Like, it has like long term implications on their health. But it's like, is it worth it for me to be able to make a living if it means that a percentage of those people are at very high risk to like be severely maimed? Uh, I don't know, man. It's not like the cup of tea I'd like to drink exactly. So that's why I have turned to, like, I really feel like live streaming, like especially after we've seen it now, like you see all the big companies, like you see all the big social media outlets, they all have a platform for it. Like content creation and streaming, like there's going to be plenty of people that aren't going to want to leave their house. Like
Yeah,
after this, like I'm so comfortable right now, like just hanging out at home. Like I
I feel
used to
you.
be a go out and do everything, but now it's like we've created a friendship without ever actually meeting each other.
I
You know
know
what I mean?
exactly.
Like without even actually like having real conversations like this that often, you know? Like we've been able to create a relationship just through the tools that we have, and that's becoming more comfortable. And it's like if we were to meet in person, it wouldn't be strange though because we've already met each other before, you know
Yeah,
what I
it would
mean? Like
just
we're
be
getting
like
to know
hugs
each
and
other.
high fives.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like it's becoming less weird. Like the dissonance between the electronic divide is like just kind of being broken down. So I really feel like it's a combination of the two. Like there's gonna definitely be those people. There's those people right now that just as much who they had to stay at home for a week and they're pissed off, so they're ready to go to that show in a burning building as well. But it's like, I mean, I just want things to get better before I really try and get back out in that space. I'm hoping that my venue that I worked with is still in a position to be able to like put on shows. They actually had like some flooding in their basement that might have fucked some stuff up. That was where the venue was. I think some equipment got messed up, but I think the plan is for us to try and start, or they're going to try and start shows back up in September. And I mean, I feel like I don't really know. I don't know how my life's gonna, like how my content creation, everything's gonna go then. Um, but I mean, it's just I'm perfectly fine with what I'm doing now, also, because there's a lot of like when you're at my level, like I don't get paid every single time I do comedy. A lot of comedians don't. Like when they're going to practice, do open mics, things like that. That's like that's the writing process. Is you write it, you practice it, you write it, you practice it, practice it, practice it. That's why like New York, Chicago, LA are so amazing, is because you can get on stage in big cities like 10 times a night if you want to. You can
Right.
just keep working on the same joke. Whereas like for me, the most I've been on stage was like, well, I went to Chicago and I did like 4 shows in one night, just open mic stuff. But it's like in Kalamazoo, I've done like two shows in one night, maybe three on a very special occasion. But it's like not all of those were like actual big shows. Like I think one night I did like a charity event like early in the afternoon, and then I had 2 shows at Shakespeare's, and that was a 3 show night in my own town. But that was like that's not every night, where it's like if you live in a big city, you can get on stage as long as you're awake, basically, as long as you're awake and willing to get out there. If you have like the right connections and know the right people. So, um, it's just, I guess I'm losing track of my point, but um, it's just like at this level, it's like I'm not a professional, um, or I'm not a career comedian right now. That's not my career. That's not my
Yeah.
job. That's not my income. Um, so I mean, I'm still trying to figure out like how I could turn content creation and comedy into that living or more of an income to be able to support itself and kind of just create that snowball to build up like an audience, because that's really the main thing that I was missing the whole time that I'm traveling around Michigan, traveling around the surrounding states, traveling to North Carolina, traveling to Louisiana, traveling to where else did I go? Minnesota. Like those or Chicago even. Like that's what I was really missing, is like I was not doing anything. Like I didn't have anywhere for anyone to go to like interact or to catch me when I'm not on that stage in front of them.
Right.
And that's really what the Twitch portion has really led me to. So that's why I do feel it's going to be a combination going forward. At least for me, for someone my size, I'm going to go perform somewhere, and then they're like, "Hey, like, where can I find more of your stuff?" It's like I stream on Twitch. These are the nights I stream. Here's my Discord. This is where you can find other content I've created.
Yeah.
Like it creates like that community, because really like a fan base is like an actual community if you think about it. Like I feel like
Most
that touches.
definitely. Most
I
definitely. And sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, I'm just ranting at that
No, no,
point.
and I love it. I love it. It's great because then I don't have to. Um, but no, like that's one big thing that I've noticed, and it's weird, right? Because when I first started moving into the medium, I started on YouTube, which was probably the least intelligent thing I could have done, but it was the only thing that I really knew of.
Right.
And it it's very slow there. It's a
Yeah.
little you're a little guppy in a huge ocean.
Yeah.
So what I was doing, this type of content, it's a lot. There's a lot. Um, and so to get that traction, it's not the easiest. It's a very slow
Right.
go. But on Twitch, on the other hand, like you're saying, community can grow very fast. And that's the big thing, is it's more community based, not fan based.
Right.
When I first started, I used to think fans. But it's not like these are people I talk with. I know what they're doing during their day. What their family life is like. And I talk to them 4 or 5 times weekly.
Right.
And at that point, it's not a fan. You don't talk to fans like that, right? That's a
Right.
community of people that surround you and help you. Now that you are on doing more stand up stuff on um, Twitch, are you nervous about people sniping your comedy or any of that things? Because I know a lot of comedians haven't been doing stuff online for that reason.
Right. And I've thought a lot on it, dude, and it's like if someone wants to fucking steal it, like whatever, dude. Like it's like they're I I guarantee you like in most cases like I I feel like that's really an old fear. Like yeah, it sucks, dude, but it's like if someone feels like they have to take something, I guarantee you they're not going to be able to tell it with like the same authenticity as what I would. And if it is big enough, if it's high enough profile, that it's like doing it on Twitch, I have it on record of when I said it, and you could probably even see where that person was in the chat or something like that, or you can tell
Yeah,
where the touch point is. Like, if it's too similar, especially if it's like someone big stealing it, then you're just like, oh, you see this joke from this person, like, oh, like I had the same joke, but then it's like it's I don't know, dude. It's really hard, like, because I mean, there was the situation with like Joe Rogan and Carlos Mencia, like,
yeah.
I mean, regardless of what you think of Carlos Mencia's comedy, like does like the main driver of that was not that the person whose joke got stolen was hurting like it wasn't hurting that person.
Hmm.
Like Mr. He Who Must Not Be Named was not hurt by it. Because I think he was stealing some sweater jokes, or if he's stealing from like the greats of comedy. Because literally, it was like I think he was telling like Cosby jokes or something, is what I'm alluding to,
Yes,
or
I
like some other
I
like
was picking
major,
that up.
yeah, for everyone else, dude. But yeah, it's like Bill Cosby wasn't hurt by Carlos Mencia telling his jokes or taking the premise and making it his own. And I really do believe that premises in themselves are not original, and a lot of it is how you build the misdirection and build it into your act and do that as a whole. And really the main person that hurt, I feel like, was the people whose opportunity, like the people who felt like he was stealing opportunities from them, or that they were like, it definitely is upsetting if someone's getting stage time and they're not writing their own material. Like that's definitely upsetting. I don't feel like what he was doing was right. I feel like Joe Rogan calling him out was the right thing to do. But I feel like aside from that, like once he gets called out for it, once you realize it's happening, I mean, the club shouldn't be putting those people on. They should be aware of it too, you know? Like
Exactly.
the people, like, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like that person is still going to build their own audience whether you like it or not. But it's like making people aware of it's fine, but I feel like deep down, like the only people who are truly really upset about it are the people whose opportunities are stolen, you
Yeah.
know? But it's like obviously he did something in the background, who he was, what he did to get the opportunities that he had, um, to get his TV show, whatever. But it's like, does it ultimately hurt those that are truly talented? Like, I mean, there's so many opportunities now. Like, television opportunities are like dwindling. There's only so much time for stage time, but it's like, I get it. Like, you wouldn't want someone who can't do a job in the appropriate way to get a job that you want. So yeah, it's definitely wrong. But I mean, for me personally, though, like if you turn it back to the actual question, sorry again, I'm
No,
looking
dude,
at
just
the
keep going. I love it.
I'm looking at the like the philosophy of it. Like I definitely understand why it upsets people, but I feel like at this point, um, if you're just someone who's trying to make it, trying to get out in front of people, like I mean, I could write more material. Like I mean, especially if I literally get to a
What are you
point.
doing? I had you
I
all.
actually,
I had you perfect on my end.
I'm sorry, my monitor was like behind the other monitor.
It's all good, bro.
We can just flip it around. Did I mess it up?
No, we're good. We're good.
We're back. All right. I'm sorry, but I feel like I feel like at this point I'm not really worried about it because first of all, not that many people go back and watch the VOD at all. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, and I can clip it down and post my jokes. And the thing is, like, some of these jokes people post on YouTube anyway. Like, they'll post their clips, like, their good clips on YouTube so they can send it to festivals and stuff. They still want people, they still want people to watch it.
Hmm.
But for whatever reason, they don't want to do it live. You know what I mean? Or they only want to do it on Zoom shows where people can only, like, laugh, but there's, like, a 10-second delay.
Delay.
Or,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
because I haven't actually done a Zoom show, but I know it's not as much of a feedback as like when we have you guys in Discord, like
Yeah, exactly. It's
that it's a
immediate.
little bit more immediate, yeah, because it's like a phone call instead of whatever Zoom does, but it's a lot more real time. It's a lot more interactive, but it's just I don't feel like I mean I'm not really worried about anyone stealing my jokes. They can fucking try and steal it, but it's like they're not me, dude. Like they're not doing the same stuff I am.
Right,
And
exactly.
even if they do, like more power to them. But it's like if it's someone bigger than me, like I doubt it would really be someone bigger than me through this medium. Um, and at the same time, it's like I feel like I'm established enough to where it's just like if someone does, like I can get my own benefit off of like making us think about it if I really want to. But I feel like the main concern with a lot of people like doing it live or having people with the ability to record things, because I think the main thing about people recording things is like it's very important to kind of have control over your material
Yeah.
because people post it to social media, they post it to YouTube, you can't take it down. And especially if it's a bit like if you're not happy with how it was performed or anything like that, it's that control factor. Like I feel like comedians a lot of times, like I mean, I know me personally, like they do very much like to be in control because that's literally like when you're on stage, you're literally controlling the reaction of like the people in the audience. You know, like you're trying to invoke laughter or get them to settle down or basically you're like a teacher almost. It's like calm down, kids, or you're control like you're playing them like an instrument
Yeah.
basically. Um, but it's
Working
like
the crowd.
yeah, exactly. Um, so just having control over where that material can be seen and how it's handled afterwards is important. But I feel like the excuse a lot of times is like because they might not want to confirm that they are control freaks, but I think the excuse a lot of times is that oh people are too sensitive for my material or like it's a bit that's in motion like that they're still working on things like that. But it's just like if you're still working on a bit, then yeah, don't do that one on the live stream. But if you have fucking and sorry, do you keep swearing to a
Yeah,
minimum
man.
on this?
Fucking swear it up. It's all good. This is all open, brother.
All open.
All
I
open.
figured,
This is
but
truth and openness. So let her go.
but it's like I feel like in that particular format, it's like most of the jokes that I told, like I don't even think I think I probably did 20 actually like 20 30 minutes over the course of an hour. Like I did 20 or 30 minutes of like an hour long set that I would normally do when we did the live show on January 16th.
Right.
Um, so like that already kind of boiled it down. But those are all jokes that are like published at this point. That's on my comedy album. People can go listen to it for free, like on
Exactly.
whatever music service they have. You know, that's on Burger Prince for the most part. And if it's a newer joke, then it's like something that I feel comfortable enough sharing on the live stream. But it's like if you feel like it's something that you don't have the right message behind it yet, to where someone could infer something that you don't want to be inferred, then just don't tell it in a venue where people are going to possibly be offended.
Yeah.
Or maybe you should possibly think about how your words can affect people if you're worried about catching hate for it, you know? Like, because the same thing's going to happen if you're in a comedy club. Like, and I mean, there is the whole argument about like the freedom to write or comedy's sacred, blah, 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 blah. It's like maybe you just shouldn't be such an asshole if you want people to actually like you. Do you want to be a comedian or do you want to be like you want everyone to love you? Like because the two things are usually intertwined, but like I mean a lot of times like some stand-ups say some shit that like makes people mad at them, you know?
Yeah.
Like and that's the whole thing is they don't mind if that one crowd hates them. They just don't want all the crowds to hate them. So it's like you just got to be aware of your audience and who you're playing to. And I don't think it's as big of a deal. And for someone like myself, like to circle back, like it is. I feel like it's absolutely a missed opportunity not to try and take advantage of the internet in a bigger, broader range, and just doing it on stream on the 16th, like we're about to do it again this weekend. But doing it live like that was honestly, it was like I just like October, like I did an open mic, like spur of the moment in October around my birthday. I did an open mic in front of a bunch of people. It was really weird. Um, Socially distanced, but there was like 50 people there. They weren't really a comedy audience. They weren't there to see me, you know. I just had shown up at last minute, so like I didn't have very many friends there that wanted to see my jokes particularly. They didn't really get my brand of comedy. It went okay. I actually tested out live streaming a comedy show there, so it was fruitful. But it's like that didn't feel nearly as good as having 10 people in the Discord chat and however many people we had watching the live stream, like just watching the chat flowing and like the comedy going and people triggering like the laugh tracks and things like that.
Tomatoes.
Yeah, that show felt that show was more fun than like probably it was more fun than that last show. It was more fun than um a lot of the smaller shows I've produced at Shakespeare's, and it was just a good time, and it had much more impact than a lot of the other things I've done as well. Like, I mean, it had more reach, it had more eyes on it, and I feel like it elevated like where we were at with the streaming at that point, even too. Like, I've seen like a noticeable gain in like just the building of the community and like how many people show up when we are live and things like that, and just getting to meet more people and get in front of more people. Like,
Exactly.
I feel like, dude, honestly, if I hadn't started live streaming, um, when I released my album in October, I really think that I would probably only have like maybe a hundred listens total of like any track. Like, and I'm quite well. I think I'd probably have like 100 listens total overall, and I think I'm about uh, quite a bit more than that just because of the live stream. Like people are actually engaging with it. Like I think it gets like at least one listen a day still, like all the way
That's
through.
awesome.
So
That's
like
awesome.
gets like 10 or 20 songs played a day. So it's super dope. And it's more than just like any Spotify list it's on. Like I haven't really paid attention to it because it's not what I'm focused on.
Yeah.
But it's like really at this point, like even if I were to stop doing stand up, like I did it to kind of just see how far I could go. Like anything that I'm doing creatively, I just don't want to feel like the time was wasted, you know? Like I want to feel like I created something, we did something, so we got the album out. Um, like it's up there, people are listening to it, people can listen to it. It's a capsule of like what I've created over the last 10 years, and that is a success. Like was all the time well spent? Uh, that's questionable because the 6 months that I've spent on Twitch are probably more fruitful than the last 6 years I spent doing comedy.
Oh, for sure. I hear that
Aside from like
100%. Most definitely.
aside
I
from like the big shows I've done, you know?
Right. I found like that's exactly what's happened with YouTube for me. Is not that I'm exploding on YouTube by any means,
Right.
but because of having a community on Twitch, being part of other people's communities, and having them share their communities with me, now I'm at a point where people are starting to look into what's going on my YouTube, and it's slowly,
Right.
but it is growth. There is growth. I'm getting views. I'm getting more activity than I've had on it in 6 7 months,
That
and I've been lucky enough to be able to sit down with people like yourself, um, Tibia Wolf, Metal Junkie, and there's so many more in the hopper coming up. So I mean, I'm hoping all that's going to help expand and grow that. But
right.
really, for me, it's all come from doing what I'm doing on Twitch, right? And that was the big thing. Was like I was just going from place to place to place, just trying to get traction somewhere, you know. And then once I found traction, that was it. That was the point where it's like, okay, this is where the growth is happening. This is where I feel the most, and ironically, I did. I felt the most comfortable streaming. I had the most fun streaming because you didn't have any of the headaches of editing and all that
Right.
stuff and who's gonna watch. You know, At the end of the, like, I don't
Right.
have my numbers up
You
when
know
I'm
who's there,
streaming,
yeah.
but at the
Right.
end of it, like, you know how many people watched. You know who's there in chat and communicating with you, right? So there's
Right.
that instant feedback, and which can be very gratifying and
Yeah.
helps motivate you move forward, with moving on to new expansions and doing more things and being creative and feeling comfortable with the stuff you're creating also, right? Because that's a
Right.
big thing for myself, is like, I want to put as much as me out there, right? But
Yeah.
am I entertaining enough? Is just me enough, right? And if it isn't, what things do I need to do to make it enough, to be more engaging, to have the community have something that they can sink their teeth into, as it were, right?
Right.
And I think that's something, especially right now, that you are really gaining traction on. I mean, your growth over the last 2 months has just been unbelievable. Really has.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been phenomenal. And I mean, I think that mainly has to do with you being the person you are and the engagement that you bring to your community. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Like the
It's facts.
engagement engagement's like what it is, dude. Like that's like one of the things, like hanging out with Santa, like that I kind of picked up from him. Like we both kind of do things a little bit differently. Santa has a little bit more time to be places, and like honestly it's crazy how quickly like your thought process about it, or like what your strategies are for just trying to meet people. But it's like when it really comes down to it, like having a genuine interest in people, like, I mean, you don't have to be there for them all the time. You don't have to be their therapist, but like actually trying to be friendly with people. And like, you don't even have to be friends with every single person, you know? But like being friendly with them, taking an interest in them, like maybe trying to remember like if someone shows up more than once, if you can remember something about them and create like a bond with that person on a certain level, um, like really it makes it more rewarding for you as the streamer, because you know that these people support you and they're here for you, and they want to watch your content, they want to interact with your community, which is, it's not just your community either, it's they are the community, it's our community, you know. um, Basically it's just it gets people behind what you're doing, and you're doing it together in a way. It's just you happen to be the person that's kind of organizing it, you know, and everyone has their own, and we get to share them, and it's so awesome just to see, like when I recommend someone to people and they follow over and stop in.
Exactly.
Like I know, like we came in that one day, and like after that you met everybody, and like
Yeah.
I find you in other people's channels sometimes where I was like, dang, stream camps made it over here. That's awesome. Like just from people that I've recommended. Like I always love seeing that. Like even when you and I don't, like, I mean, we'll go days or a couple weeks without talking sometimes just because we don't line up, and it's like
Yeah,
still like
exactly.
we can pick up where we left off, and it's just an awesome thing, um, to
That
just
was
like be
one
able to build
thing.
that.
That was one thing that I was kind of bugged me at first, and I realized I just have to get over it really quickly, and that's, you can't be there for everybody, even if you want to.
Right,
Like, I can't be. It's just not possible for me to be in everyone's stream. It's just not possible for me to be hanging out and to be engaging with everybody. I follow too many people. I love way too many people in the community.
right,
So I have to shoot my time back and forth, and I think when I realized that it's okay, because I was always like, what if people feel like I'm not trying to be there for me? They support me, but
right,
I'm not supporting them, and then I realized, like, all I can do is all I can do. That's as much as I can do. Period. Right.
right,
And when I seen, like, yourself or Santa or whatever, guys like myself that are busy, involved with a lot of communities, and
right,
you're not always in my stream, and that doesn't bother me any, because I get
right,
it. And I was like, well, if that doesn't bother me, then it shouldn't bother anybody else that I'm at that level with, right?
right.
And
Well, yeah, exactly. It's just it's nice to see you around. I know that your schedule doesn't line up with my schedule all the time. So when you can stop in, that's like extra special to me, honestly, is that the fact that you'll stop in. And like we all have those moments of like mental health where we're just like worried about whether we're doing enough, or whether we upset somebody, or like I mean I might be too emotional about it or too self-conscious about it sometimes, like, oh, I said that thing and I was kind of being sarcastic, like a sarcastic asshole to that person last time I talked. Maybe they're pissed at me. Like, I don't know. I think
yeah,
too far into it.
yeah,
But yeah, it's just letting go and not worrying about those things is like the most important. It's like you know who your friends are, you know who supports you, and it does make it extra special. And like honestly, it's just those moments of weakness where anyone actually worries about it. But if someone really is so worried about it that they want to like say something to you or like start drama about it, like we're not here for drama. We're dads, dude. Like we got other things going on, you know?
Well, that's
Like
it.
if someone's too concerned about it, then it's like maybe it's just you guys aren't. It's just that's not a friendship that's meant to happen, you know.
Well, that exactly, and I mean, like I you, you don't have any control over anybody else, right? Like I say
Right,
all the time, it's like time is the most valuable thing we have on this planet. As it stands
right,
right now, it's very finite. Maybe science will change that and it'll extend it, but it'll still be finite. Like I don't see
yeah,
humans living for eternity. Maybe we'll
right,
extend our lives hundreds of years, whatever, but still, it's going to be a finite existence. And that makes time the most valuable thing we have. And when
right.
people are willing to spend that time with you, that to me is something you have to just cherish. You have to just be amazed with it. At least I am, because I'm like, who wants to
Yeah.
spend time with me? What the fuck? I have a fucking blonde mohawk and a gray and black beard, so what a weird bunch of people. But I'm glad that there's
Yeah,
such an amazing weird bunch of people out there that I can connect with, right? And
yeah.
that time thing is so important. And that's when I came to the realization that it doesn't matter if they're there all the time. Those whom will can be, and that's perfect, right?
Right.
It's like when
Well,
people come in and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm late to your stream." It's like, no, man, you're not late. When you're
you
here,
made it.
that's
You made
exactly
it.
when you need
Yeah.
to be here. And even if it's like the last 2 minutes right before I raid, perfect. You get to come with us on the raid, but you popped in and said hi, and that's the most important thing right there. And I think a lot of people don't grasp that with their streaming, and it kind of it confuses me because it can be so easy, but it's so eluding to many people. I think it really has a lot to do with personal ego, which myself, I'm just trying to learn how to control that fucker, because that
Right.
thing can be a vicious fucking beast in your brain. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like learning the humility. Like I'm still working on it myself, but it's like cuz it's a balance between I have a tendency a lot of times just like from like doing interesting things that people want to talk to that people sometimes are like, "Oh, you got this thing going on, that thing going on," that I get too comfortable. Like that's honestly something I'm probably going to talk to my therapist about whenever they answer my call. No, I'm just kidding.
I
I don't
can't
know.
believe you
It's-
got. I don't want to go
I
off
got
topic,
ghosted
but
by my
yeah,
therapist
that is the funniest
that
shit
I've never
ever.
met.
Uh,
Dude, COVID times therapy over the internet. But anyway, um, but it's like I do have a tendency though to talk about like what it is I'm doing before I like when I know it. Like I think in my mind like that's not who I am. Like I do try and actively like especially in my personal relationships, people who have to deal with me every day, like namely my girlfriend who's stuck in a house with me all the time. Like I have to, like she gets annoyed by it, but it's like usually when I go out and about, people ask me about comedy or anything else, and I try and ask them about their stuff, and then they're just like, "No, what about your stuff?" And then I just end up going on a rant for a half hour about whatever I'm working on, and then I feel like an asshole about it. So I'm like trying to be mindful of that, but it's literally an ocean of egos, and I feel like if there's one thing that me spending 8 years being a stand-up comedian, like I've gone through all of that before. Like there is nothing but egos when it comes to that. There's so many people that are so full of themselves for the crazy awesome dick joke they just told in the bar full of 10 people, um, 8 nights a week, dude. Like they're fucking like it's nuts, dude. People are absolutely insane,
well, ego's the
regardless of their
weirdest.
skill.
Sorry,
Yeah,
ego's the weirdest because we need it. You need
right.
ego. You need it to an extent, but it
Yes, there's
so easily takes over, and you
yeah,
neglect that ego can kill you just as fast as it can bring you to life.
right.
You know?
It's like pure self-preservation, but yeah, definitely the overconfidence or like lack of self-awareness um basically can really drown you. It's like when you get so overly confident that you think you're about to jump the Grand Canyon on a bicycle without
Right?
a parachute. Like, yeah, I don't need that parachute, dude. I got this, dude. Like, I jumped that curb 18 times yesterday, and those people cheered. They're still cheering pretty hard, so let's go. 1,000-foot gap. Send it. Like, I don't know. That's a bad analogy, probably.
That's
But
so true, man.
Like I was just thinking though, like the other day, like when I was trying to think through like some of my mental stuff though, it's like I'm super self-conscious, but sometimes I'm just not very self-aware. Um, and that's something I'm trying to work through right now. Cause that's really like being aware of your ego. Cause ego is like literally your like a survival mechanism.
Exactly.
It's your sense of preservation, it's your sense of self-worth. And if you think too highly of yourself, like you start to forget about like the connections and things that matter just as much or more than yourself. Like I mean honestly, there's so much that matters more than yourself. Like I mean I feel like building a community here, if you want to support your own art form, building a community is so very important for that. Like yes, you do like through the process with the people who decide to be a part of it. Um, you build it together, but in the end it's not just about you. Like you do get to eventually like create things, or I built a PC so I could make more crazy shit happen for people to watch, but I feel at that point it is my responsibility to continue trying to reach more people for us to meet, bring more like-minded people together, bring more quality to the stream. That's why I'm so annoyed by like the popping issues I have because
Yeah,
I
with your
haven't gotten
audio.
to a level. Yeah, I haven't gotten to a level of proficiency to basically figure out what's going on with that. And it's just like that's I feel like really that's why I feel so bad about it. I don't feel so bad about it because it's like, oh, it's my art form that's being ruined. I feel bad about it because oh, there's 10 people watching me right now and this must be annoying to them, you know? Or like there's 10 people watching right now and we're going to miss out on possible new people that could come join us and become part of the community, or new friendships that could be created. Or I mean like in the moment though, it is also like just I want more viewers. Like I mean at the base level, but it's like that's those are the things that you are really missing out on if you sacrifice that quality. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
I
there's the
totally
base
agree.
level and then there's
Totally
the
agree.
greater level, cuz there is some of that ego, the selfishness of like, yeah, we want the channel to grow. We want to be that big streamer. We want that. But when you think about it, like what would you enjoy more though? Is like having like an active community of like couple hundred people that like are able to all do their own things, and they're also able to build their own communities from being a part of yours, like to create like other people's followings and enjoy they create content that you enjoy interacting with and communities you enjoy spending time with. Like I really feel like that's how we can kind of change the face of Twitch if you think about it further. Like we can create our own little portion of Twitch, and I really feel like we do have a pretty good subset. Even though there's millions upon millions of people on Twitch, I really feel like we're getting to be where we have probably about 100 people or so that are all streamers that all kind of do their own thing that I could think of. Like I know I could just list names upon names,
Oh, dude,
and
for
like
sure.
like I know I probably follow about 1,000 people at least on here. I know you've got to.
It's
So it's
ridiculous.
just
I can't even keep up with it sometimes when people go live. It's just there's
right.
so much going on, right?
Right, but it's like I feel like the base level of it is like yes, I want more viewers, I want the channel to grow because that helps me create more content. But like when you really drill down into it, like what really like deep down, like what I think though is just like it's building that community, it's building up everything together, it's creating a place where we can enjoy our time, we can have fun, we can take our minds off of what's going on, like everything else necessarily. Like we can find people to game with because it's hard when you're an adult, like especially if you lose touch with your friends or your friends get busy, like to find new friends to like game with or like to like
Just hang out with.
share content with, hang out with. Yeah, it's like it's so hard. So definitely just being able to do that. It's been a that's been a very rewarding part of it as well. As I feel like I've made a good amount of like new friends or acquaintances. Um, I mean, like Hack Oddity, who's like hangs out on the streams as well. He's someone that like helped. I think he helped Doug Stanhope book tours back in the day. But Stanhope used to talk about him all the time on the on his podcast. And now I talk to Hack like multiple times a day, and like we enjoy each other's content. So we're just like hanging out. He lives in the UK, dude. Like without Twitch, I never would have like met
Oh,
him or interacted with him. You know
I
what I
know
mean?
so
Like
many
without the
people,
internet. Yeah.
so many people from all over the world. I mean, I can't believe how many people I've met that like I literally either I'm talking to on a personal level over Discord or we're
Right.
hanging out playing games together, and they're from
Right.
all over like the United States because I'm in Canada, so I got lots
Right.
of people like yourself in the U.S. I have lots of people like Rustic in the UK and stuff that I hang out with all the time, and that
Yeah.
would have never been a possible. I would have never met them in normal circumstances if it wasn't
Right.
for building my community and being on Twitch. Like I didn't even know what Twitch was. I was
Yeah,
literally
dude.
I
Me
started
neither.
on Twitch and like within a couple I don't know, a couple months, like I was like anybody who starts on Twitch, flippy floppy, little bit here, a little bit there. I was really kind of just focusing on YouTube, but I wanted to game, and it was a good excuse to be like gaming,
Right.
right? Oh, I'm a streamer, so I can game, and it's a good excuse. I was like, why not? And if I'm gonna game, why not, stream? But I really find that once I figured out, okay, if I take this seriously, and I actually put a schedule down and I stick to it,
Right.
maybe something will happen. And it was good. I mean, I did get some little bits of growth, um, and I got to my affiliate kind of with that mindset. But it wasn't until I met you and Santa that my thinking kind of changed because I never thought a community when I was starting. I never because
Right.
coming from YouTube, it's community isn't really a base. It's not the same there, the community, because it's I mean maybe for bigger streamers and stuff, but as someone just with like 20 followers or whatever at that time,
Right.
there's no community
Why
there.
why do you think that is?
With YouTube, oh, I think a big thing is a lot of stuff is uploaded,
Yeah.
so there's no that interaction isn't there. I know a lot of like bigger streamers and
Like
stuff do
there's
live. Live is becoming
there's
bigger.
no time for everyone to come together basically.
Well, that's it. Like everyone's watching it after the fact, after it's uploaded. That usually the creator isn't there. I do know some
Right.
creators try to hang out and chat for like an hour or whatever after they upload, um,
Okay.
to try to interact. But again, that's not the same. It's not the same thing as spending 5 hours with 10, 15 people, 8 people, whatever it is. But that 5 hours interacting with them, on
Right.
a weekly basis is a lot different than maybe once a week in your own YouTube chat communicating with a few people
Right.
that for the first hour or what have you,
Yeah, because you're
before
also
you
not
go.
like saying their name in the content, like having conversations with them in real time. Yeah.
Well, that's it exactly. And I mean, like I can make people feel special. I think that's one of the greatest things we all have as an ability, as people, is to make
Yeah.
other people feel good and feel
Right.
special. And I really kind of make that a point in my stream, is to make people feel special about themselves because they are. I mean, I get it. That kind of sounds a bit cheesy, saying like everybody's special. But when you
Right.
come to my stream, if you're willing to, like, again, spend that time with me, then yeah, you're fucking special to me, man. That's an amazing thing. That's an amazing gift you're giving me. And
Right.
I want you to know that I appreciate that. And the easiest way I can do that is by making you feel like a special person, because you are. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I don't think that happens on YouTube. I don't think you can
Right.
have that ability to do that, like you said, to make people feel special, to interact with them directly like that over an extended period of time. And I think that's a big thing too, is having that. Oop, shit! Just hit my mic. Having that that extended period of time to sit down and actually get into it with people and kind of get to know them as
Yeah.
they get to know you.
Yeah, I feel like an asshole now. You're out here making people feel special. I'm just telling dick jokes. I'm like one step above a YouTuber right now. No,
Yo,
that's a
man,
great way to look at it.
if I could only figure out some good dick jokes, I'd be all on it.
Go to
I won't
YouTube
lie.
for
I
the
mean, I
dick
thought about
jokes.
comedy at one point in my life. I mean, I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
a lot of like, 'cause I was a class clown, right? And I've always been
yeah.
like, I always want attention. Fucking people look at me. See, look at the fucking blonde hair. Look at this way. Um, right? So I've always been that way. And I mean, I truthfully did think about, is there a path for me there, as in comedy, as it were. But my big thing is like, I have issues with writing, so writing for me was
Yeah.
always like just uber frustrating, right? I have spelling issues, I'm dyslexic. I'm not going to get into that. I mean, you learn to
Right.
work around things, and you get better. But also the next thing is like the comedy scene in Canada isn't robust. You know,
Yeah. I
don't get me
think.
wrong. There's some friggin' great Canadian comics. Don't get
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
wrong. They just all moved to the States.
Yeah. 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 I don't know. I think like Windsor has some good clubs, and
There's
maybe
a
like
couple.
Toronto. Well, Quebec though, you guys got Just for Laughs, so that's
Well,
like
the
the
comedy
biggest.
festival there was like I used to love going to that every
It's
year,
like the
right?
biggest festival in the world.
Exactly, exactly. But again, it's like that again is more for the big boys, the people that are already
Right. Yeah.
known,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? It's not like as a young comedian or
Well,
a beginner.
aside from Edinburgh though too, that's the biggest one.
Yeah,
But
that's
Just for
the
Laughs is.
yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just for Laughs is next up, but as it goes for something that's in Canada, especially, I mean, I'd say it's the biggest in North America easily,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So,
Definitely. Yeah.
but I mean,
Between
as
like.
it is, as a young comedian, I don't think there's too many openings in the Just
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
Laughs
No.
festival,
That's not really how it works. Yeah.
right?
It's always funny when people like suggest that you do things in comedy, like they're like, oh, you should try and get
why
on
don't you
like
just
late night,
why don't you
dude.
just get down to the comedy store?
Yeah, just go to the
Going
comedy
down
store.
there.
Which that I feel like that is easier than it
Probably,
seems, but you also go on at like 6 a.m. or something.
yeah,
like
exactly.
after
Three
being there all
people,
night.
two of them are
Yeah.
passed out.
Which, dude, honestly though, I think comedy store is probably starting to get big enough to where it's like it's just all big boys. So
Well,
too.
like
Um,
if you listen to like some of the lineups they used to have there during the week, it was just like
right.
headliner after headliner after headliner after
Oh,
headliner.
they
Like,
they do now, dude. Like, I mean, I don't know if it's like falling out of favor or whatever. Like, I haven't been. I stopped listening to Rogan a while ago, so I haven't really been tracking what he's doing. But I know that a bunch of comedians followed him to Texas.
yeah,
I didn't realize that it was because of the lockdowns. But it's like, I mean, man, it's a weird topic to me. Like, I mean, if you're doing comedy though, and it's your profession, like that definitely is understandable. But it's like I really feel like now is the time to branch out and like create content and like figure out a way to reach your audiences differently, you know?
no, exactly. Like, let me ask you this: what do you like? What is your? Do you have? Are you just kind of like trying to work it out and get get things pulled together, or do you actually have like a 5 year or 10 year plan of where you're heading or where you want to be?
I mean, I haven't really done it since like since everything happened basically, or since I started Twitch. Like, I really haven't planned out anything. I mean, basically, like when it came to like Shakespeare's, like the show that I produced in Kalamazoo, like definitely I was having like yearly plans or like ideas for like the next year, thinking out 2-3 years in advance of like, all right, if we get the open mic going well, because that's what it did. That's what we started off like down there. Like I started doing comedy in 2011. Well, technically 2010. The first time I did stand up was in a barn for my buddy's going away show or going away party. He was the big comedian, which the venue that I work in now used to actually be a comedy club called the Laughing Post, and my buddy was like, "Yeah, I'm a comic. I do stand up comedy." I worked with him at a Panera Bread, but he's like, "Yeah, I'm a comic." He's a funny dude, but his experience turns out was like doing the open mic at the Laughing Post twice. Um, and then that place closed down, and the bar that's up above it bought the basement venue basically, and or they bought the whole building, or they owned it. Like they decided to turn it into a venue, and basically when they turned it into a venue, they started hosting like music shows and comedy shows there. They still do, but essentially, when I first went down there, they were doing Wednesday night jokes and jams. So it was a mixture of music and comedy open mics, basically. It's like there'd be the comedy open mic followed by the music open mic. And I did that for like 4 months, or not even, like, because I went to one show, and then the next day, the person who made the connection down there for us to host it asked me to take it over when I'd only been doing comedy for like 6 months, basically. But I mean, I was like, I had an idea of what I was doing. Because I didn't do comedy for a year. Also, I forgot to mention, after that barn show, I didn't do stand up for an entire year. Then I did a show at a bowling alley, and that's how I met like people doing comedy in Kalamazoo and throughout Michigan, and started doing it more often. 6 months after that bowling alley show, though, March. So yeah, the anniversary of that show. Let's see. So we started. It'd be like the 10-year anniversary this year. What the fuck? Hold on. No, 9-year anniversary. I want to say. Yeah, because it was 2012. So yeah, this month we'd be having like our 9-year anniversary show because we were about to have the 8-year anniversary show before COVID happened. So dang, time flies.
Wow. Eh?
But yeah, so that's how I track how long I've been doing comedy, basically. But from there, it was like basically after doing that show, I was hosting it from like the fall through the winter or through the summer. No, I was March through the summer because the summertime we stopped doing the shows. We came back. I got like I got my own day for the show after that. So I didn't have to share with anyone else. I was bringing enough people down for them to be like, yeah, let's do our own day. And we were doing it every other week. And like just basically from there, like building up, like we went from every other week, building up to every week. Well, no, we didn't build up to every other, or what was it? I can't even remember. But slowly, like slow incremental builds, basically, is what I did with that. And we built it up though to where within the last couple of years, like we've had Pauly Shore down there, we've had Tom Green down there, Michael Ian Black, Stephen Lynch,
I've actually
Donnell
met Tom Green
Rawlings.
once.
Yeah, no, Tom Green was super cool. But yeah, like all those big comedians, we had like Bobby Kelly and like Kurt Metzger and Shane Torres and Shane Moss and like just a whole bunch of people that you would have heard of, like all these people that we've worked with. And Doug Stanhope, I don't know if I already said that, but which actually like that connection is like part of what helped me get a good start on Twitch is because I met Doug Stanhope's friend Chad Shank the first time we had Stanhope at Shakespeare's, and he remembered me, and he streams on Twitch, and he has a decent following there. Like that's where I met a lot of people that were like my first core group of my community. Even was through Chad Shank and him remembering me. So that was super cool. But just being able to build everything up incrementally is how I've kind of done things, and it's worked out so far. So I don't necessarily have a plan. Like I have ideas for the future that I kind of build towards, and then I just keep. I'm pretty agile with it. Like I try and just continually build upon like what I've created so far, and I just want to keep pushing it further. It would probably be good if I like kind of just said, all right, 5 years is going to be X, or 3 years is going to be Y. But I really just kind of just keep trying to push it to that next level.
No, I feel you on that. I do have goals, as it were, 5 year, 10 year. But I I came into this like when I started Streamcams Media, because of course that started first on YouTube.
Yeah.
I went for the aspect of I my end result. I want to build a brand. That's why I named it Streamcams Media. Even though sometimes I get a lot of flack on Twitch for my name being so damn long. Um,
Yeah.
but I did it for a reason, right? I wanted to create a brand, not just. I didn't want it to be me about me because my idea is like I'm trying to build something for my friends and family to hopefully plug into if they want to. Like
Right.
in 5 years, if my big goal is to have an actual studio, not just my basement set up and everything, like a place where I drive to every day. I unlock the door, I turn on the lights, and I have areas to do each thing that I'm doing, and I can go in and do it. Like that's my 5 year goal, right?
Nice.
Now, is it going to happen in 5 years? I hope so. But if I miss and I do it in seven, is that bad? You know what I mean? Like that's
Right.
kind of my mindset. But I need to have that thing there to keep pushing me to do more to achieve something, right? Because if
Right.
not, I get into a bad habit of just kind of like waddling around
Okay.
at where I'm
Yeah.
at because it's good. It's good here. It feels good here. Let's just hang around and kind of float in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's
Um,
a good idea though, for
and
sure.
and if I have that goal there in my head, then I'm like, okay, what am I doing next to get to that point? How am I building my community? How am I'm making that growth? Because like I didn't come to Twitch as a to make millions of dollars. You know what I
Right.
mean? I think a lot of people get that in their head that I'm going to join Twitch and I'm going to become big and I'm going to make millions of dollars. maybe there are some people that are that at that point, but they've probably been on Twitch since the beginning,
Right.
or they're already big and they've moved over from platform or what have you. But as for an average person, it's going to take years and years and years and years to get to that point, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, why even focus on that? You should have a bigger focus. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to make money,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because without it, how am I going to grow? How am I going to make things better? How am I going to expand the business or the brand into other things, right? So the money has to be there. But I think the second you start focusing on just that aspect of things, you've already put a hole in your own ship. You're going to start sinking right
Right.
away.
No, and I definitely feel like I've gone through phases of that though too, where like that's my main thing is I want to focus on what I can do to improve everything. That's why right now I'm so focused on like the production value of my show and like what it is like because that is like the goal I'm working on right now. Um, so I guess I lied when I said I don't have goals really. Because my goal right now, like I do really see the potential in the platform and kind of how I have my scene set up right now and what I've started to do, like where monthly I'm doing like the live podcast, which I don't know if I want to necessarily keep doing it live like that. At least not the 2 or 3 hour long interviews. I feel like that might be a little bit too long for like a live interview on Twitch because like I want to still have I want to figure out the interactivity to it when you're having an interview like this with a guest on. Because I feel like when you're just sitting there having a conversation the whole time, like it might be slower. But I mean, people do really enjoy it. It seems like those streams that I've done so far haven't been bad.
My only
Um,
challenge with doing stuff on Twitch live is I want 100% focus on you, right? I want to focus
right,
on you guys, or at
right,
least whoever I'm sitting with and having a conversation with. That one I want that. But if I have chat going,
you're right.
I
Then
feel like a dick that I cannot be with them as well, right?
right,
So that's why I choose to record and then upload and allow people to go. Although I think I would probably like listen. If we were streaming right now, I'd probably have some of the highest numbers I've had in a while on my stream, right?
yeah,
Most definitely, because I'm gonna have my people, the people that know both of us are gonna be there, plus people that know just you. They're gonna come in and check it out too, right?
right.
Which is a great way to expand. Don't get me wrong, but I want this to be about you or who I'm with, not about my growth. Does that make sense? I mean,
No, that
obviously,
makes sense
I
for
do want
sure.
growth from it on my YouTube and what have you,
Right.
but I want the focus to be
Check
on
out
the person I'm
Streamcams
with.
Media Gaming on Twitch, y'all. Do it. Go check out Streamcams.
You heard it. You heard him. Listen to the man. But no, and that's why I stayed away from doing something live on Twitch, and I really
Right,
want to keep the gaming stuff separate from the YouTube stuff, which is vlogs and podcasts. Even though I haven't done a vlog in months,
right.
um, but yeah, and so that was kind of my aspect. But it's like what do you do? Like what is the best? I mean, maybe I should try test the waters, as it were, because it's almost stupid of me not to to try it and see what the results are. I don't want to be distracted by chat. I guess I have the option to turn chat off, right? On the same
Well, I
note.
mean, you can hide it. I mean, me personally, what I like to do is I'll keep chat rolling just so I can see what's going on. But I'll type like when I'm just listening. Like, I mean, it's not super fair to the person who's with me, but like if I notice something in chat, like I can multitask well enough. Like if someone's talking or going on their like keeping the conversation going, like um, I'll like type in like quick hearts or emotes or quick responses to people. Like I'll type to them but I try not to like break the fourth wall and talk to them,
Yeah.
because
Yeah, I'd have
that's
a
like
hard time with that.
right. I try not to bring them into the conversation, which honestly I don't think it's completely fair that I am reading chat while I'm listening to someone talk. But I mean, I feel like it's going all right so far. I guess we'll see. But ideally it'd be nice if I could get to a point where I have like mods or like I mean honestly like the tribe takes care of themselves though most of the time when I'm doing like when I'm doing the live stand up, dude, like they didn't need me like sitting there reading all the chats when I did the stand up show or like when we're doing the podcast. Like everyone talks amongst themselves and they enjoy their time together. So it's still kind of more of like that live premiere of like a show, but you just set that expectation that this is what's happening today. You know, like I turn off the channel point redemptions. You know, I turn off all the stuff that's going to interrupt. Like I turn off the alerts. I go back after the show, and if there's support that, like, if support comes through, like new followers, like I go back after the show and I thank everybody. And I'm trying to get better also at like reaching out and thanking people for like the support that they give to the channel as well, especially um, like basically just anyone. Like I want to try and make sure that I be a little bit more personal with it, because I really just feel like I really feel like it's just a big thing. It's just providing value to people. It's not so much that I should focus on like what my goals are for money that I need to keep this going. It's more like, how can I provide value to people, in order to, like, because if like it was like in November or December, I kind of had that like epiphany where it's like I was starting to get to a point where people were gifting subs, or people were dropping bits, and people were making donations and stuff like that. And I didn't want to just be someone who sits there and like, oh yeah, let's, our goal is 10 more subs, or our goal is 1,000 more bits, or our goal is $100 donation. Let's see where we go. It's like, you don't have to like mention any of that, you know. You just have it in mind and keep it going. But like, I guess that's where I do want to try and recognize people, but I always feel like it's weird, like what the right way is to recognize those people as well. Because it's like, I would love to like shout them all out on Twitch and be like, much love or Twitter, like, and be like, much love for these people. But I also don't want them to, like, not everyone wants recognition for supporting a community. They just want the community to get better, you know, and to provide them value. But I would love to shout their names from the rooftop, dude, because they're awesome. They're awesome people. But it can also bring a lot of negative attention to them too, for people who just don't get what it's about to actually build a community and have a channel worth subscribing to, you know. But essentially, definitely, it's a hard boundary to straddle in that case. Also, like, multi-streaming is a similar thing where you have two different communities like coming together through like the multi-stream. That can always be weird because you have like the two different chats that you have to maintain. But eventually, I do want to try and, like, my main goal right now is I want to bring together like people that I want to interview, and like musicians and stand-up comedians, and produce like an actual like late night talk show, like once a month, or like a couple times, like maybe start out like once a month for like the nights I do like the podcast. Like, have it be like I come out, I chat people up for like the monologue, like have stuff that I planned on talking about, like whether it be make some jokes about current events on Twitch, like maybe mostly like gaming related stuff. Like, I mean, eventually I'd probably need people to like submit jokes to me, you know, to tell on stream, which that could probably be part of the interactivity, you know. Like, we could have submissions for the monologue that week, you know. That might be a good idea. But essentially have like a monologue, have like a house band, or at least, I mean, right now we kind of have that with like my Jamie and Andrew, who wrote the Party with Bob song. I don't know if you heard that yet.
Yeah, I have. Yes.
Which I think they might like try and find a way for like get a camera and a green screen to be able to play for me, and like I could have them just up in the background like when it's time for them to play.
That's a good idea. I like that.
But like having the music, having the comedy, having like a guest to interview for like a half hour or so, or maybe multiple guests, like get the couch out, you know. But like make it more of like an event, make it like a show. Like, that's really what I would love to produce, because I don't think there's anything like that going on Twitch. Not that I know
to that
of.
extent, that's for sure. And I feel you. Like, for me, Twitch is such a stepping stone because there's so much stuff I want to do other than just stream video games. Like, I would like to get my hand in the mix of producing, some little bit more meaningful content. And by meaningful, I don't mean like this is meaningful or my Twitch content is meaningful. But I
Right.
mean I wouldn't mind putting together some kind of a news based content, where I take a look at news and kind of give my opinion, tell you the story, and then hopefully interact with you guys and get your opinion on where your headset's at on too, right?
Right. Yeah.
But for me, that's a huge monster of a uptake because like it's just me, right?
Right.
So I've got to go research all the information. Then I got to figure out a way to express myself clearly, where I'm not necessarily offending people. Not that I don't worry about that too much because I'm very much of the mindset like If what I'm saying you find offensive, because I don't find myself a very offensive person, but if you find what I'm saying offensive, then you probably shouldn't be listening to me anyways. You know what I mean? You're not the kind of person that I'm really looking to engage with, right? But yeah, it's a big ordeal to put something like that together, and truthfully, with zero background, except for what I've learned as I've been going along,
Right.
it's just something that's it's out there, and I'm hoping at some point I might actually be able to like have someone that I can hire in maybe on a part time to do editing and stuff, or
Right.
have my wife start researching stuff for me and that end of things. But that's again, that's once you get my own studio and I can start branching out, because it's you probably run into it too. Like, I'm limited by the space I'm in and the stuff the equipment that I have, right?
Right.
I think
Yeah.
that's for most people, you're always limited to where you are and what you have at your fingertips to put out and create whatever you're trying to create, right?
Yeah, I mean, the laptop was the epitome of that right there.
Exactly.
Which, like, from December to January, like, you can see right there how much my production has changed, just from that. Like, the ability to, like, even pull up a website in the background and put it on stream,
Without
or
everything
have, like,
pausing.
yeah, without crashing out completely. Like, that definitely, it's nice to not feel limited by your tools or your space. And definitely, I like that idea. I don't think I would want to drive anywhere. I feel like what I would want to do is just have like a man cave, like separate from the house, so that way I can go crazy and not like wake up my baby in the middle of the night or like bother my girlfriend. Or
Well, there's actually just down the street from my house, like 2 blocks down the street, right by
yeah,
our library. We have these, and I don't know why they built them, because they're still like they've been up for 5 years and they're still for
yeah,
sale. But
right,
they're like houses, and at the very bottom of them, it's a storefront.
right,
Not very
okay,
big, probably big enough for like a small studio or a like a little H&R Block, like one office desk thing, or you
right.
know what I mean?
Dude, this is a great
Maybe a
idea I
hair
just had
salon with a
now.
couple. It's not big, but it's big
Yeah,
enough. But it's also above it is like a 2 bedroom house type thing,
right,
right? And I was like, ideally, it would be nice to just buy one of those, rent out
yeah,
the upstairs,
right.
right, and then use the storefront as the first studio, and it's like 5 minutes walking distance from my
So then,
house.
so then the tenant's just like, I got this fucking landlord, dude.
I know.
He's just out here telling people he
Downstairs
loves them all day,
all fucking
dude.
day. There's horns going off, like air horns, and
You're
right.
gonna have to like put some extra insulation in the fucking floor, dude.
I know.
You're
Well,
like,
I
all right, you
mean,
guys, every day between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., I'm gonna be making a shit ton of noise.
just
Uh,
be
but
ready.
but that means the lease is about $100 less a month. Like,
Right, exactly. Well, my kind of idea was like, I you could that's the option of renting it out. But also I would love to have like, because with my streaming channel, it is me right now. But my whole idea is always to have like a full 24-hour channel with different
right,
streamers streaming all day long.
right,
Just like a TV channel. And you go to a TV channel, it's not just one television show all fucking day,
right.
right? They have
Yeah,
different
yeah.
shows all day long, different content, different creators.
Have you have you seen Down to Quest? That's what they do. Is they have like a streaming house.
No, that's a cool idea. That was kind of like, again, like my idea of where I was going with Streamcams gaming. Eventually,
Yeah,
I mean,
which
I'll
not to downplay your idea, because there's like that's like an example to check out, because that might
yeah,
be
yeah,
the
for sure.
inspiration.
Um, exactly. But that would be the next thing, is to do that with that house, is have the each floor a different something, different studio
Oh, that'd be
setup,
cool. Yeah, yeah,
right? And I mean, the kitchen and everything would already be there. You could have some cots in one of the rooms if people need to catch a rest or whatever, and you could have like people doing different things on different floors at different
right,
times, and it all nonstop streaming either on uh, my YouTube channel, or recording stuff for the YouTube channel, or streaming
right,
directly to Twitch. But again, like, this is all, that's stuff for the 10-year game plan, not the 5, right? So we got to get to
right.
the 5 before we can really start expanding out. But
Yeah,
I mean, go ahead.
no, I feel like that's definitely a good idea, man. But yeah, I'm more the walk into my backyard than walk down the street type person. I feel like these days.
I'm
Um,
I'm see, like, I'm limited again to my house. Like
Right. Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
have a backyard big enough to put a
Yeah,
full size
yeah.
shed in. Never mind build a
Yeah.
studio. I mean, but that's for now. I mean, we're not staying in this house forever, and who knows when I move what that might be, and maybe I'll be able to do something. Because I mean, ideally, yes, it would be nice just to like go out the back door or something, and bam, you're in your own little utopia for streaming and creating, and then having people in and what have you.
Right.
That end of things. But again, like if I've my city's not that big. We're like 100, just over 100,000 people. So like you can literally go from one end to the other, even through bad traffic, and the most it's going to take you is like 20 minutes. And
Right.
so like whatever, as long as I can find a place, that for me is the biggest key, right? But enough about me, Bob. I want to talk about you, my man. No one
Yeah, yeah.
cares about me. No one's coming here to watch me talk. I'm watching you. But no, I know. Oops, wrong. Oh, I'm hitting all the wrong fucking buttons now. Sorry, everybody. You just went through 3 frames and went right back to the same spot I was in just because I hit the button by accident. Hope you didn't mind that. I need to get myself a young Jamie, so I
Yeah,
don't have
dude.
to be switching these
Everyone
fucking
needs a young
scenes all the
Jamie.
time and messing things up. But
Is Brian Redband available again?
right, exactly. But no, I I want to talk about a little bit more about community because I think a lot of people on Twitch that are trying to work this thing out or figure it out don't quite get like how important community growth is to not just like channel views, but
Yeah.
like how important it is to for other people to be I'm getting myself messed up on my own words. I hate when that happens.
Right.
But it's not just about like follows, right? It's more about that the views. That's how I meant to say it. That now I got it. Because like I know people, I've seen people with lots of follows and
Right.
very low viewers. Um, and I find that really, like, I don't know how they got the follows in the first place, and who knows? There could be ways. There's ways people do it.
There's ways.
But the growth of the actual viewers, because I mean, in Twitch, that's the main thing. Like, I hit my 500. And I'm not saying it to be if I'm
Congrats,
saying it
dude.
like no, thank you. I mean, it's definitely an accomplishment, right? But having 500 follows does not equal 500 viewers. You know
Right.
what I mean? And I think a lot of people focus more on getting their follow numbers up and not
Right.
focusing on, and then they wonder how come my viewer numbers never rise, right?
Right.
And I think that has to do with focus on community versus focus on trying to be an elite gamer or trying to play the perfect video game or that end of things. But I wanted to know where your headset was because like you're over the 2000 now, fucking guy, amazing.
I'm at 1.1K.
Oh, are you? Oh no, I was
Yeah.
thinking Santa. Sorry, yeah, you're just over the 1,000 now.
Oh, did Santa cross
I
2,000?
think he did.
He's
I'm
getting
pretty
close.
sure
He
he
was
did.
at like 1,800 last I looked at it.
I thought he
He,
just went over when I looked last,
he's
but I
got
could be
some
wrong.
velocity for sure. No, he's getting close. He's getting
Yeah,
real close.
but
But
either
no, I
way,
just I'm at like 1100 right now, but I mean that ain't no slouch either, but um I mean honestly, dude, I don't focus I choose follows as like something to celebrate. It's like it's definitely a measure of the growth of the community, and definitely it's more people that can like get an alert when you go live. I'm just kind of taking a look at. I wanted to see where I was at here after yesterday, and I do find myself like getting more followers like as I am live sometimes, just as things go on. Like I mean, in a way, like sometimes it's just kind of clout. Like people show up to your page and they see that number and they're like, "Wow, like that's it's a big number," and it is. But like you're saying, it doesn't equate viewers. Like we do we did just hit 1,000 followers. Like I mean, my average right now is about 20 average viewers. But I mean, when you have 20 average viewers, that's not just 20 people that came to hang out necessarily. Like the odds of someone like turning on your stream and staying interacting with your stream for the 3+ hours that you're live, is very low. Like that's it's a
I could think
revolving door.
maybe 4 people on average that will be there from the beginning to the end. On at least on my streams, I'd say
Yeah,
maybe 3 or 4 people. It's not very many that are there the
right,
whole. Like I'm doing 5 hour streams. I do 12 hour streams on Fridays. Like
right.
that's a lot of time for someone to be sitting their ass looking at my ugly mug for. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean that's a lot though too. If you have like like if you have anyone that stays for the whole time, that's crazy. But it's like I don't know. Look at a summary. It's like you might have 20 average views, but it's like that's a that's like 168 different viewers that came through like during
Yeah,
the freaking like that's my last stream. Um, for Sunday, like my average viewership was like 26,
and your
and
max was.
my max was 40, and my unique though, like there was 168 people
Well, there
that
you
came
go.
through.
Right.
So it's like there's a ton of people. Like that's just a ton of people that come through, and I mean that's crazy to think about. Like over a 4 hour period, like that's how many people you have an impression on. But like I had like 14 followers last night too. It was nuts.
Dude.
But it's just like yeah, one doesn't necessarily equate to the other. And I feel like I focused on followers a little bit too much, like leading up to like getting to the 500 mark, just because I didn't know any better, you know? Like I was just like, oh yeah, I'll follow you, drop a follow, and I'll still follow everyone until they basically give me a reason not to follow them, you know? Um, like I don't like actively go out of my way to unfollow people, but it's just um, like I mean, if some I don't know, like I mean, I feel like my Twitter was worse than Twitch though, because Twitter I literally, I did just blast out a bunch of follows and then was just creating a lot of content on Twitter in between like August and November, December timeframe. Just because like that was me trying to grow Game Pass and there was a lot. Well, basically up until the launch of the Xbox and the PlayStation, like I had a lot of content I could create along with GamePassDad, just with the console wars and all that. I mean, that's kind of cooling off. Like I still post some things there, like I still post jokes and stuff. But I was like memeing, I was joking, I was on a schedule like every single day. I was like posting something at like at least noon and 5 o'clock, like just posting 2 posts a day, like 2 pieces of content a day. And it works though. It worked out. Like I mean, I'm almost up to 2,000 followers on Twitter now, like just from the content that I created there.
I think
But
I
I
have
followed
27.
27. But I mean, it's like it's not. But that's just the thing. That was just like an outlet for me, and it's like I wanted people to see the jokes that I was creating and like get an idea for my personality and like see the type of content that I wanted to create, like combining my sense of humor and my love of games. And I really want to get back to it and create more content along those lines. But I want it to be a little less toxic though too, because well, I mean, I don't think it was toxic, but it was definitely. I just have a problem with hypocrisy in general. I feel like there was a lot of like when it comes to console gaming, I feel like there's a lot of like if Microsoft does anything because Microsoft's a giant fucking corporation,
Yeah.
then Xbox definitely shouldn't be struggling as much as it does, you know. Which I feel like they're really turning a lot around, and that's why I've structured like this whole thing around Game Pass. Is I really do enjoy the value of Game Pass and the games I've gotten to play. It really I don't know if I'd still be a gamer
I
if it
think
really wasn't for Game Pass, you know? Like
I
I'd
think the
probably
Game
play a couple of
Pass
games. Like
is so worth it for the amount of money. Like I don't even have an Xbox,
right.
and I have the Game Pass, right?
Yeah.
Because even as a PC user, the amount of
Right.
games you get for the $7 or whatever it is a month, you cannot get that many games or access that many games for $7. You just can't.
It's just like the ultimate rental service, but at the same time, as long as you're paying for it, you have all of the first party titles from Microsoft,
Exactly.
which is constantly growing. Which is now it's going to be a bunch of Bethesda titles are part of that.
Right.
Like everything upon release is there, and you can play it. Like there's no plans for it to go anywhere, and I don't feel like there's any reason why they would stop it. Like if they have an influx, just guaranteed influx, like they don't even have to worry about how well their games are going to sell anymore. They just have a guaranteed influx for every single person that subscribes. Like for every million people, that's like if you have Game Pass Ultimate, like not even that. It's like for every million people, they at least have $5 million coming through for one of those subscriptions, whether it's PC, Ultimate, or anything else. At the very low end of that, they have $5 million for every million people every single month coming through, just for that service, which is
Exactly.
constantly growing. Which it could be upwards of like $15 million if they're Game Pass Ultimate subscribers, like month after month. they know exactly how much cash they're getting. They're not just selling a game for that same amount of profit, you know what I mean, or that same margin, because there's still margins there when you have to print discs and distribute and
Yep.
all the above. Like just that I don't feel there's any reason why it would go away. Like Netflix isn't going away,
No.
and like everyone else is doing a streaming service. Like it just makes sense, and I really enjoy it, and that's why I've decided to create content behind it. Is I mean, it's not always easy to defend all the things that they do, and it's not my job to sit here and like write a love letter to a fucking corporation because like really, if I had to like change my branding, I definitely would. But I mean, for right now, like Game Pass Dad is like. I mean, I don't even think that I ever would have to. Like, I mean, I enjoy it. I can do what I want with it. It's just something that it's recognizable. I don't know. I don't know. It works, man. I feel like it fits.
Well,
Um,
the Game Pass, like, as a streamer, if you have an Xbox or a PC, I think it should be a must-have
right.
because it just gives you access to a plethora of content for a small fee that, like, you could literally build a channel off of it,
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean,
like
that's
you,
yeah, I mean,
like you
like
did,
I have.
right? Like,
I mean,
exactly.
I mean, the idea was too when I first started it to like create like maybe some more YouTube content and basically figure out some more things in that respect, like to try and like do like the podcast was supposed to be a bigger part of it, which it's coming back. I just haven't found a good way to turn the video into audio. But I'm going to be uploading more podcasts for the Game Pass Dad podcast, and like the my goal setting podcast I need to really get back into because I've been gaining too much weight lately because I'm staying up all night snacking all the time.
Dude,
But
I'm
you're
down. I'm down. I'm
nice,
down
dude.
to 246.5. I've
Dude, good
maintained
work,
it though the
brother.
last 2 days. I haven't lost any weight the last 2 days, but usually I find that's what happens when I do this. Is like the first week I get that mash drop, and then I'll level out, and
Yeah,
then I start slowly dropping more and more and more. But I mean,
nice.
all I've really done is changed my eating. I've gone on the carnivore diet, so if it comes from an
Yeah.
animal, watch out, Jack, because I'm probably going to eat it. Unless it comes from the ass end of the animal, in which case I don't
Yeah.
want nothing to do with that. But but no, and I mean, so that and the only thing I've done really is I'm doing this 30-day squat challenge with my wife.
Yeah.
So my legs are fucking jello 90% of the time, but that's okay. And yeah, so I'm getting the results, but it can be hard. I had to just say enough is enough. I got to get back into it because
Right.
I'd lost, I'd lost like 40 pounds, uh, just before like when COVID hit. I lost a bunch of
Okay.
weight. I was into it. I was healthy. I was exercising. I was eating the carnivore diet, losing weight, and then I went on vacation
Okay.
and started drinking and eating fucking all
Yeah.
kinds of crap food. And I came home from vacation, and it was just like my kids weren't in school because it was summer. They
Right.
weren't going back to school till September. Uh, you know, everyone was home. They'd been home because of COVID. I was just like, my mind just never left vacation mode at all.
Right.
And I just kept on eating crap and eating crap and eating just nonstop. And I mean, I'm bad. Like, I love some stuff so badly, like potato chips. Like, oh,
Right.
I love them so much. But my problem is like I'll open a big bag of potato chips, and if I don't put the potato chips into like a small container and take the container and go eat it, if I just open a bag of fucking potato chips, plop that fucker on the table, I just like watch a
It's
show, and
gone.
my hand just keeps
Yeah.
fucking going into that bag
Yeah.
until there's nothing left in that fucking bag, and I'll do that like 3 times a week. You know,
Yeah.
like
That's a lot of
that's a
that's
lot of
probably
fucking potato chips. You know.
probably a half pound of weight gain if right there.
Oh, for sure, right?
Or
So I
at
mean,
least a couple ounces. Like
well, it'll add up, you know. And I got back
right.
20 pound. I got up to 260 again, and I was like, okay, this has got to stop. And just I don't know how, just naturally, I dropped 10 pounds for some reason,
Okay.
and then
Yeah.
that was like, okay, I'm down 10. Let's fucking just keep going. And so now I'm hoping that I can just keep moving with it. But it's hard, man. Wait. I've struggled with it my whole life. Ever since like my mid 20s, I was really fit till my mid 20s, and then yeah, and then everything just kind of started expanding around the waist area.
Yeah.
Um, and it's hard to get back into it, man. I mean, I'm comfortable. I'm I'm not ashamed of my look. Like I'll walk around on the beach with no
Right.
shirt off. I don't mind that I have a gut or belly.
Right.
I do prefer seeing my penis when I have sex, though. So that's always a nice thing to see. But I mean, realistically, like I was like, this is just a life thing. I want to live for a long time.
Yeah,
I've got
yeah.
I've got 4 beautiful daughters. I would like to see them grow up and have families. And realistically, my odds are lower. Maybe I would. Maybe I could just stay this weight and I'd be fine. But
Right.
the odds are higher that I won't be. So,
Right.
now's the time. I'm getting older. I'm in my 40s now. So it's like, if I don't get a hold of it now, when the fuck is it going to happen? Like, never.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's definitely like part of what like my whole motivation was originally. But yeah, definitely like with everything, like the current situation of things, it's hard for me to find that motivation again because I was sitting there thinking through like, what was it that I did last year that was like so good that like got me set up on a course to like lose weight. But it was like when lockdown happened though, I did gain a bunch of weight back, and then I got serious again with losing weight, and I got to an all-time low. But now I'm back to right around where I was, like right about when I'm back to where I was right about this time last year, if I have to really think about it. So I kind of just had a lost year of time, like where I was still super motivated all the way through about September, October time frame, and then I just kind of fell off as it got cold out. Like I just lost that motivation. So that's what I'm working on getting back is like getting outside. Which when it is nice out, like I feel like that's gonna be the big change. Is like um, just having that nice weather and like just trying not to get back into terrible eating habits. But I feel like as things normalize, like it'll be easier not to do that again. But who knows, man? It is a constant process. Um, but yeah, fucking follow me on Twitch because followers don't matter. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, going back to the original point though, yeah, man, like it. I just try not to worry about followers. Like the same thing, like any of those measurable metrics that are outside of my control. Like I can't control like who's gonna decide to support the channel. Like who finds enough value in it to um, monetarily put money behind it because they want to see what I can do with it. You know, because like literally everything that comes in for that supports either what I need to do for day to day because like Twitch has like given me the extra income to be able to make up for like the bit of income that I had from comedy. Like it's not the same as what I was making doing comedy, but it does kind of fill in that void. I put a lot of that back into the stream. I put a lot of that back into the community and other streamers as well. Like I support streamers that I enjoy or who I see working hard or things like that. But also I can't be subscribed to everybody either, you know, or like give bits to everybody every month. I feel like that's a really hard thing to do because you kind of want to pay people back for that, or I feel like you just kind of have to choose like where you put it though too. I feel like it's a lot more instead of just giving everyone like 100 bits or giving everyone a sub. Like I feel like it's better to kind of like maybe like I've been trying to maybe focus a little bit more. Like instead of giving like 10 people 100 bits, it's like maybe just throw $10 at somebody that month, you know, or a couple people, you know.
Well, that's the thing. Showing support is a big thing. Like myself, I have a budget.
Yeah.
How I live is probably a lot different than most people. I'm lucky enough to be doing this full time. Like I don't do anything else for an income. I'm lucky enough to be in a spot where I can do this. My wife is the one that's working right now.
Right.
But on the same note, it's like everything that comes into the channel is a bonus for me, right?
Right.
And anything, what's the best way to say this? Because of how I live in my life, I have to take every dollar that comes in and it literally gets portioned out. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's uber budget. So I have, depending on how much I can actually make in a month through Twitch, will always vary like how much money I can spend on cheering and subs, how much money I can spend on buying maybe new games for the channel, right?
Right.
And then like a lot of people don't understand like there's a lot of like I've paid into Twitch way longer than Twitch has ever been paying me back, right?
Right.
And that's just the way it is. That's the name of the game. You gotta put out. Like I mean, I have my Streamlabs I pay for. Your internet you gotta pay for because you gotta have good internet, right? So I mean, people gotta pay out a lot off the front before you're ever gonna see anything coming back. But the big thing is like you said, you can't be there for everyone. But I'm very much of the, I will use my budget on, excuse me, on people that I think deserve it or maybe need that little bit of motivation or that the little bit of
Right.
hype up to just get things going for them, and make them feel special about things. But yeah, that's it. You can't sub to everybody. It's
Right.
not possible. Like there's too many people. There's too many people. There's a core group that I always want to try to sub to if I can. And then I kind of just pop around from different people back and forth,
Right.
right? Because that's all I can do. And I mean, I think that goes the same way for other people towards me. I don't
Yeah.
ever expect anybody to be subbing to me or to be resubbing every month or what have you, because there's a lot of people out there that deserve it as much as me, if not even
Yeah.
more, right? So for me, it's just like you were saying, creating that value to people and more people, and trying to expand the community, so that there is that monetary amount coming in to keep things driving, keep things better, and keeping everything going the direction that you want it to go in. Because for me, that's
Right.
a big fear. That is a huge fear. Like, what happens if all of a sudden, instead of moving forward, I stop or start falling backwards, right? Because I don't know about you, but in my life, I've had a lot of things build up really good, and then all of a sudden just blow up and turn to total shit on me.
I mean, I feel like that's life in some ways, though, too.
For
But yeah, I
sure.
mean, it's like there's ways you can focus on it without like outright like, and I mean, it's not going to be the same from month to month, but I mean, you can get to a point where you like can kind of see trends and things like that, and if things aren't going the way you'd like it to, then that's when it's time to like step back and maybe think about what it is you're doing, you know. But yeah, it's just my philosophy though is just to keep pushing as far as I can. And like I definitely have been gone back and forth about when it's appropriate to try and have goals for things. Like really, I feel like the only time I want to try and have like any sort of like donation goal or anything like that is probably if we're doing like charity or something, like just put a number up there to like be like we as a community are going to go for this. Like Uncle Cranston, I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he just raised 5 grand for D or DKM or something. That's a blood cancer foundation. They raise money for blood cancer research and or no, it's they find donors, bone marrow donors to help people with blood cancer. And I also think they fund research a little bit too. But it's super awesome, like just what people are able to do with that. And I would love to try and like in the near future, I want to do some charity streaming. But yeah, in the meantime, like right now, it's about providing that value. And I feel like that's ultimately also what can support that type of goal is building a community first. And then if you want to do something to give back or have rally the community around, like once you have that community, then you can set that $1,000 goal and expect to hit it. You know, like Santa just raised the money to the fundraiser to help his family buy medical equipment for his nephew. Like that was
Nephew,
super
yeah.
amazing. Like um,
Yeah, it
definitely
was really neat to see everybody rally and back him up, and not just like hit the goal it before the end of the time of when the goal was set, but like surpass it, and
right,
that just shows the power that can be built here through community, and the amount that people like care,
right,
about you, and you don't get that. Like again, I don't see that happening on a platform like YouTube, at least not at 1,000 um, or 1,200 or 2,000, or even probably 5,000 followers or subs or whatever it is on YouTube.
right.
Having that ability to pull that together like he did, I don't think it's a feasible thing to do there. But with
Yeah, like
Twitch, because of that one-on-one contact with your community, it makes it a different animal altogether.
yeah, definitely. It's so strange because I've thought about trying to maybe do a little bit of. I think I've thought about doing like the Your Welcome Future Self podcast with my buddy. I've thought about maybe releasing that one, like doing a live stream straight to YouTube for that.
Right.
I don't know if we're going to, but I've considered it. But we're yet to see what actually comes of that. But it definitely just concerns me that like just YouTube doesn't seem like it's the place for that right now. I mean, if they figure their stuff out and find a way to like make it more interactive, like more, if they take some notes from like the places that are doing it really well, I do feel like YouTube could have the potential to be like that better platform. But I mean, Twitch just has that monopoly right now for sure. Because like not only do they give you the means to do it, they teach you how in some ways also. Like with all the like, I don't know if you did a lot of the reading on any of that stuff, but they really stress the point of community, um, and like really break it down for you as well. But I really feel like unless, because the thing is, unless you're already famous, you're gonna need to build a community to grow. So that's literally what famous people already have built in, is they have a community of people that enjoy their work or enjoy like the famous street, like the famous game player, like as soon as like freaking I don't know, Nick Merckx, he's a famous video game player, like he became famous. Which not even him, he's a bad example. He became famous
Look at
on
Ninja.
Twitch. But Ninja was a pro Halo player, yeah.
Yeah,
So he already had, but yeah, but Nick Merckx is a pro Call of Duty player too, I'm
that's
pretty
true
sure.
too. Yeah.
But it's like those pro players, like, but you see a pro player, Tifu, he's probably a good example. But you see these people come to the platform, like, I mean, they also probably cultivated their community a little bit too. I wasn't around for that, and I mean, like, 2016 is like I think really when Twitch blew up, when like Ninja played with like Drake and Travis Scott and everything. I think that
Yeah.
really took it to the next level because he's like playing with these people in real time, these famous ass people, and like all of a sudden like the Twitch community can have like almost like vicariously have direct access to these people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
have like a streamer be able to set that up is amazing. Um but like I mean back then though you could grow like back in like 2012, 13, 14, whenever it turned into Twitch, like back then you could grow just by being live and like just by being live and playing a game. Like you didn't even necessarily have to interact as much, And like over time it's come to a place where 2021, like people don't want to just see games. Like people want a human connection. And I feel like it's great, like what you say, like where your thing is you want to make everyone feel special for being there. That's awesome because you make that connection. You you find out, like you invest a little bit of yourself into the people who are there. It definitely is going to pay dividends and like people wanting to spend time with you.
No, exactly. And I mean, I think Twitch it still kind of gets it has a stigma to it, and I feel a little bad about it because it's like I know like personally I still have some family members that quite a few, but that haven't never come to my Twitch, never checked it out. And the biggest thing I get from them is, well, I'm not really into watching video games.
Right, yeah, same.
And it's like, yeah, but you don't understand. The video game is the draw. You know what I mean? The
Right.
video game is the background. It's the show. You know, it's the
Right.
lights. You know, you
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
have a good
yeah.
show without good lighting, right? And
Yeah.
and that's what the video game is. It's the light, and the actual content is me. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm the quote unquote star on the show if you wanna call it that.
Yeah.
And it's
You're
my
hosting it,
job
yeah.
to be entertaining. Now, yes, I use the game as a maybe like a crutch for that entertainment. It gives me something that I always have something to talk about. I always something to goof on or make fun of myself playing the game or whatever I'm doing,
Right.
right? But ultimately, it's about the interaction with whoever's in chat, whether they follow me or don't follow me, is moot, right? It's the fact that if a person is there and they're talking with me,
Right.
I'm engaging them and I'm making them feel like I care because I do. I care about what people have to say to
Right.
me in my chat, I try my best to make sure that I answer anyone's questions or respond to everybody, and that's one of the reasons why I use my TTS all the time because with my reading disability, um,
Yeah.
I was uber nervous about missing stuff in chat or not being able to read it because
Right.
with me, the more pressure that I'm under, like the more I think about it, the more it acts up. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
if I'm looking at chat thinking, oh my god, I hope I don't mispronounce, or oh my god, I hope I don't read the sentence wrong, or I can understand what he's saying before the next sentence pops up, or and be able to respond. And to me, that almost made me not stream. I almost didn't stream because of that.
Right.
And once I found TTS, I was like, ah. But on the same note, I sometimes wonder, like, does that throw people off? Right?
Yeah.
Like, can people handle TTS all the time, sitting there 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever? But I mean, I think the positive of it for myself has outweighed the negative. It allows me
Right.
to interact with chat while I'm in a game. I don't have to look, even though I do, and then crash into walls when I'm driving. But
Yeah.
right. But I mean, it allows me that ability to stay connected with my chat no matter what I'm doing in stream, which sometimes can be a little hectic when chat gets really wild. But
Right.
it gives me the ability to do what I want to do more proficiently, and I'm grateful about that. But again, it's more about that end of things, and I wish more people would get that, because there's a lot more to Twitch than just video games. I mean, there's some
Right.
amazing artists on Twitch. There's some amazing musicians on Twitch, right? And just people doing all kinds of other stuff in between. And I think it just kind of falls through the cracks with Twitch being, known for video games. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, I feel like there's definitely a stigma to it, or like, yeah, like basically, I don't really like my channel, like my Twitch streaming, the community building. I don't really like it when people just refer to it as like, how's your online video game thing going, or like how's your gaming thing going? And it's like, yeah, we're playing games, but it's like, everyone knows that like if they come to the channel, like I probably spend more time talking to people than I do playing video games, you know? Like I play video games after I run out of steam talking to people, you know what I mean? Like like and like Saturday nights, usually Saturday nights are just chatting streams, you know? And I feel like it's just it does take a lot away from it to just call it like a video game thing, you know. So it's definitely something that I try and let them know. It's like it is more than just that. It's something that we're definitely building on, and it's like I kind of explained to them like kind of how it's like you're spending time like interacting with people, and then like you show people the scenes and stuff. It's like, yeah, I spend like on hour at least an hour or so like every stream. Like usually I spend the first hour of the stream like sitting either on the desk scene or on the like the cam scene of just like me with the chat going. Like I just spend like about an hour like talking to people. So it's not just playing video games. It's like interacting with the community and talking to people and telling stories or talking like making jokes about things, messing around, like pulling up pulling up like people's selfies from the Discord and stuff. Um, like that's what's more fun to like goof around and hang out with people and entertain people that way than it's basically just like online crowd work basically is what it is what
a
I was
bit.
thinking. Which I'm not a crowd work comedian by any stretch either. Like I've never really tried to be a crowd work comedian, but I don't always think about it that way. I forget that I have kind of had that thought to try and work on crowd work a little bit more. But I mean, that's basically what it is people are kind of teeing you up, and you just kind of say something about it, move on, you know. Which I guess I'm doing all right with.
It seems to be working out for you just fine. I think maybe
Yeah,
just a little bit. I
a
mean,
little bit.
you're definitely heading in the right direction. I mean, don't take it from me. I'm just
Nick Merckx, if you can hear me, I need your help.
right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I can't keep
Exactly.
up with that chat, dude.
I uh I always try to look at things from the most positive perspective, and sometimes it can be hard. But with you, do you find that, like, my Twitch to me is like it's like the mood alterer. It's the thing that if I don't connect into it, I feel like I'm missing out on something. Like my day isn't complete, or I just don't feel. as good as I do the days that I connect with everybody in chat or on stream or even in Discord. Now, do you get that? Do you get that too, or am I just a fucking freak that way?
I mean, it is like an endorphin like release in a way. Because I mean, it is like a form of entertaining. Like it's nerve wracking to decide to put yourself in front of other people and decide that you have something that's worth sharing with people, I guess, or something that you want to put up and have people come watch, or be like, hey, there's value in coming here and watching me talk or play games or whatever it might be. So part of that, like, I feel like it hits into like I really don't know what response it is really, because it's like it's very similar to being on stage though. I feel like it's just you don't really know, you don't have those eyes directly on you, but there is like the pressure behind it, and like to successfully be able to overcome that obstacle, it's almost like the fight or flight response. It's definitely an adrenaline rush. Um, it's not the same as like having people right in front of you, but I mean, when you get things going, when especially when the chat's active and things like that, it's definitely like a dopamine release and an adrenaline rush and all that combined, and um, you're definitely just making yourself like be in a position where you have to, like, you're having a conversation with people. So it's like the more that you do just make it like a casual chat or like whatever you want it to be, like that's usually what I treat it like. It's just like the same as if you and I are talking right now. Like just I'm just having that conversation with whoever's hanging out chatting, whoever's hanging with the fam.
No, I feel you. I'm very much the exact same way. I just there is that rush to it, but it's almost therapeutic for me as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when I'm done my stream, I'm just happy. I'm like literally just a happier person. I go upstairs, I hug everybody, I kiss everybody. I feel like I've accomplished something, even though that's weird because when I look at it, it's like, what did I really accomplish though? I hit a fucking go live button. I made some really bad jokes on how sucky I am at playing video games, and I played
Right.
a video game for a few hours. But you still get that feeling inside, like, or at least myself. I can't speak for everybody, of course, but I get that feeling inside, like I finally feel like things are going the way I've kind of wanted them to for a long time, right? Because
Yeah.
I mean, maybe again that comes back to the ego, but myself, like I've always felt my whole life like there is something more for me, that whatever I've been doing is not the thing I should be doing. And I've tried a lot of things, everything from like when I first started my working life. Was in restaurants. I did that until I was like running kitchens, and
Right.
it just wasn't. There had to be something else. And I moved on and moved
I
on and
mean,
moved on.
I mean, being on a stream though, like I worked at a Panera Bread where we had like a kitchen line basically, and it's a lot like being on the line, like chopping it up, talking to people, like talking to customers and stuff. Like it's a similar energy to that, like where you're like talking with your coworkers or talking with the customers who are, like, I don't know if you ever worked in like an open kitchen like that, but like just if you're in the back, like talking to the waiters and waitresses coming through as well,
Yeah,
like where you have to like just react to all the things happening, this, that, and the other. I would say it has definitely, like, that's possibly where you might have some of those skills from there. It's like just all the different moving parts you have going on for sure. Um,
exactly.
for us, we used to like always just joke around nonstop. Like especially during lunch rush, we'd all just be like, "Go, go, go," and just like making fun of each other and telling jokes and just laughing, having a good time,
Oh,
like
that's exactly how it was in the
talking to
kitchen.
customers and stuff. So
Waitresses against cooks. We're always giving each other hard times and stuff, and yeah. So I mean, I definitely got a lot of my stuff. Like I mean, it's weird because I feel like my life's experiences, ironically, have led up to give me the abilities to do what I'm doing now, which sounds weird because I've done. I mean, at no point in time was this an actual goal for me to like be a Twitch streamer,
right,
by any means, because I didn't know what it entailed, and until I got into the media world, as it were, I didn't really comprehend it. But it's like I if I hadn't done the things I'd done in the past, trying to figure out where am I going to plant my flag, how am I going to get to the next level, where I'm doing something where I'm like, this is it, this is the place I want to be, this is where I'm happy. I've got the proverbial I love what I'm doing thing going on. Um, and it's weird because all the stuff that I've done in the past, like I said, has given me the ability to do what I'm doing now, even though I never planned on doing this in the first place.
Right.
Which to me is like, how does that even happen? Because I'm not a big Destiny guy by any means, and I mean, who knows? I could fucking stream tonight and have zero fucking viewers. You never fucking know, right? But it's like I finally feel myself that everything has kind of brought me to this point to be able to do what I'm doing now,
Right.
right? And I don't know.
Yeah.
I Go ahead.
No, that's kind of like that's what I was saying too. Is like just the history of like things I've done in the past, like stand up comedy, the podcast, like my gaming past, like COVID happening, like all of it comes together to where you find that's all it is like you find a place to apply the skills that you have and you learn new skills along the way. And Twitch probably for a lot of people isn't Twitch for a lot of people in general isn't going to be the final resting place of what it is they do. But I mean the skills that we're learning here could be the skills that you need for somewhere else. And it's like that's the diverse background that makes you who who you are and the skills that you have and figuring out the unique keyhole for the key that you're crafting is like really what it's all about. So I definitely feel like a lot of what I've done so far has led up to it, and I feel like you're definitely proficient at it yourself. And
Thank you.
like we'll see what happens with it for sure. Um, it's definitely an interesting thing.
Do you see a point in your future where uh, you're not going to be able to connect with community as much as you can now? And like, does that bother you, or are you just like, I'm not even going to worry about that till I get there? Are you trying to like prepare for that ahead of time, or?
I mean, like I already probably do it too much, but just because like how my life is, like I spend a lot of time here, and it's just I need to find that balance still. But eventually, like who knows when that day will come? But I mean, eventually there does need to be boundaries. Like we're entertainers, like that's part of it is it's an entertainment thing, um, and community leaders. But I feel like at that point, what I would like to do if it ever gets to that point where like there's too many people to even know everybody or anything like that, I would really like to have other community leaders within the community that can basically have like their own subset of people that they interact with, or maybe like their own channel that they're in charge of in the Discord, or certain responsibilities, like delegate that responsibility to those people so that they can basically have their position to do what they do and also still interact with people and still provide that same level of value even if it's not coming from me directly. It's like at that point it's like yeah, like what I do is like a keystone of everything, but it's like who knows if like I'll be streaming as much as I do, like at that point in time or anything like that. Like it's so hard to understand what it might be, but I really feel like it'd probably be something like that. Is I would love to still have that interaction, have like community leaders, like basically how like every gaming company has like a social media person and community managers, and they organize events and giveaways and things like that. Like that's what I would see it if it becomes something where it's more commercial than like independent, if it becomes to a scale where it's not manageable just by me. Like I would like to be able to delegate those things, but it's so hard to relinquish that control to people.
Well, exactly, because I mean, like, Twitch is you are the content, right? So by
Yeah,
delegating that in a way, you're kind of giving the power of you to somebody else, right? And that could be a dangerous thing. I mean,
but
ideally, it's going to be
look
someone you're close to, right?
look back to like Joe Rogan though, dude. Like that's a prime example though where giving people a piece of his platform did nothing but help him grow.
Oh,
Cuz like
exactly.
honestly, like you look at some of the biggest comedians in the United States, like in North America right now, which by proxy I think might be the world. Like aside from like, I mean like at least English speaking. Like I mean it's like the UK and the United States have like the some of the biggest comedian. Well, Australia too had some really heavy hitters also, but it's like some of the biggest comedians that are out there right now with their own communities and fan bases, like their communities like live on social media just because they're so big. Like they don't have to directly like cultivate a community per se. Like their communities just kind of pop up. Like their random community on like a brand new social media website would probably dwarf ours within a matter of weeks. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Just because they have that level of fame. But it's just a different level of community. But it's like look at Tom Segura, look at Bert Kreischer,
Yep.
like look at Duncan Trussell or Ari Shafir
All
or
of them. Yep.
Tony Hinchcliffe, like all those people,
Joey Diaz.
Joey Diaz, all those people that he has uplifted himself just by incorporating them on his show and bringing them back as recurring characters, um, and allowing them to take part in his platform. Like it doesn't hurt him one bit
No.
to
No.
give them the time of day. And that's the type of thing that when I'm talking about, when I'm live, when I'm like, hey, I want this to benefit everyone else just as much as it benefits me. Whether you're a viewer and you get more entertainment, you get more cool people to follow and hang out with, and even if like that person ends up listening to or going listen to that podcast or going to that stream more often than they stop by mine, they'll still remember that they found that person through
Through you.
Dad's house.
Yep.
And it's like it doesn't matter like if they like those people still want to hang out here sometimes too. But if they make a better connection there, then that's great. There's it it doesn't inherently hurt me for other people to do well. It's because at that point, if you have the type of velocity that like someone like Joe Rogan has or something like that, dude, like it's you need to continue pulling more people in just because like Joe Rogan's like a black hole. Like his gravitational pull
So big.
is insane. It's impossible not to find him. If you search, if you do a Google search for podcast,
Joe
I
Rogan. Bam.
guarantee you, dude.
Yep.
I guarantee you. You search on anything, podcast. Like maybe not that vague, but still, like
Just put top podcasts.
or top podcasts exactly. Like
Right.
if you start looking into the podcast realm though, like you go on there, like here's a list on like some random website. Let's see. Mark Maron's second. That's a big one. I think
Yep.
Mark Maron got a big boost from Joe Rogan. Berbiglia, he was a Bob and Tom dude. Maybe this one's just intentionally not. But you pull up Spotify, dude. Joe Rogan's on the first
Well,
page,
he is
guaranteed,
Spotify
dude.
now,
Yeah, he is now.
right?
But yeah,
I mean,
this
look
one.
at what Spotify is doing now, just because Rogan is there, and he's like, no, 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 no. You can't not be doing this video stuff. You got to get this video stuff up, running properly, so
Oh,
that people
really?
can interact. Oh yeah, right? Because I mean,
Yeah, because YouTube
new
was
to
his
them.
big thing. Yeah.
right. It's new to them, so
I didn't
it,
I didn't realize that he had a push for video there. That's amazing. But
well,
yeah,
I don't
like
think it was
he's
much of like. I think really the situation with him right now is like they're pretty much willing to do what he's saying because he makes. Here's the thing: there's nothing Joe does. It seems to be for himself, and
right.
I think a lot of people can learn from that. I mean, I use I don't know, but I use affirmations like every day. And some people might say
Okay.
it's cheesy or whatever. I think they work very well. And one of my affirmations is um, I will achieve my goals by helping other people achieve their goals, right?
Yeah.
And I tell myself that every day. And I think that's very very truthful in life. If you can put yourself into a position in life, which is not necessarily easy for everyone to do, but if you can help other people achieve the things that they want in life, there's a good
Yeah.
chance you're going to be able to achieve everything you want in life by doing that through multiple of different ways.
Right.
And I think that's one of the things that Joe Rogan does, um, is he brings that to the table where it's like, alls I want to do is make my life is fucking amazing, and I want to make other people's lives amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big pull. And I very much kind of like he was definitely one of the guiding factors of me starting a podcast in the first place because I was a big fan. And
Right.
I literally, it was I watched. This is a couple years ago. I watched one, and he was, because he's always telling everybody start a podcast, why don't you start
Right.
a
Yeah. Yeah.
podcast,
Yeah. Well,
right?
that's the
And
thing is he that's the other that's basically my point there is like he helped them all start podcasts. Like,
yeah, exactly, right. And I heard that like I don't know how many times, and then finally I was like, you know what, why not? And it was like it was that, and then I had watched a the I forget what it was called, but with why can't I think of his name? All of a sudden, why are things running away from my poor brain? Kevin Smith, thank you very much. I watched his last special that he did. It might not be his last one now,
yeah.
but it's the one where at the end of it he actually had a heart attack.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and the only thing
He
that
had a
the
heart
doc
attack on stage,
yeah,
or
well during it he didn't even know he was.
oh
The
wow,
doctor
I didn't
said,
realize that.
"Oh yeah." Near the end of it, he was having it. He went and he sat down. He was just like, "I feel all weird and whatever." And then they ended up taking him to the hospital, and they were like, "Yeah, you had like a crazy heart attack, and if it wasn't for the fact that you were so fucking stoned, you'd probably
Yeah.
be dead right now." Yeah, and that's what sparked his whole weight loss thing and whatever. And so at the end of it, he does a portion talking about that, like after the special, and he just was kind of like you don't know when it's gonna end. You don't. You
Yeah.
never know. That could have been the fucking end for me. So like, don't don't not do things. Don't if you have an idea, do it. Even if you fail, do it because it could end tomorrow for you. And it was just a combination of those two things. I was like, yeah, I could fucking die tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like this could be a possibility.
Yeah, you never
So
know for sure, man.
well, and then it's like so I was like, all right, move forward on this, and I got to tell you, it was a long process getting from YouTube to where I am now on Twitch. But if I never took that first step, where would I be right now? I'd still be struggling trying to find people to sit down and do podcasts with on YouTube, right?
Right.
So I mean, it's amazing how like one decision in your life can change things so much and put you in such a new direction, and change just the whole focus of how you think. Like meeting you and Santa was another point like that for me because like I understood, okay, you got to build a community, but I didn't
Right.
understand what a community was until I went to your
Yeah.
guys' channel and I seen, oh, okay, I get this now. It's not just about like build a community of fans. It's build a
Yeah.
community of people, like-minded individuals that see things the way you do and enjoy the time that you spend in putting out that content to everybody. And then that's when my growth actually started. Like I
Yeah,
was an
man.
affiliate when I met you, but I think I'd been an affiliate for a week.
Yeah, you've been doing amazing, man.
You
I
know,
feel like you're either in my recommended or you're like very close to the top of Jedi Fallen Order, which I still need to beat. That game's awesome.
actually,
I
ironically enough, you brought that up. I'm starting that again tomorrow.
Are you,
Yeah,
dude?
yeah.
I need to get back into Star Wars games. I think I enjoyed playing them.
I I'm definitely going to be starting that again tomorrow.
with
And I'm of
with the
course
Force
ghosting it up.
Ghost.
Oh yeah, dude. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for that. I love that. That was like the greatest thing.
That's
I wish I had thought of it first.
that's the other thing, dude. It's just say my name during is all. No, but
You
if
got
anyone
it. I make
asks
sure
you,
everyone knows that I got it from you.
but it's like that's the other thing is like you asked me if like, hey, do you mind if I do this? It's like it doesn't take anything away from me doing like the Force Ghost thing or whatever production thing. It's like make it your own, dude. Like you did it and you did it better because you made yourself actually look like a Jedi. Like it's you took it and you extrapolated on it. So that's a prime example right there. It's like um, those types of things don't hold people back, and I feel like it's like the speed of information, like the internet versus like when we're not live, like when you're dealing with like live performance versus like anything, like everything's an iteration on something previous to it. Like there's only so much original thought, so much original production. Like there's inspiration in so many different places. So it would be narrow-minded of me to or anyone like even if you hadn't asked, it would be narrow-minded of me to be upset especially showing up and seeing what you did with it like that day. It should inspire me to push it further at that point if someone else can do it. You know what I mean? Instead of like be upset about it. So I do appreciate you asking, and I'm so glad it inspired you to do that, man. Because it definitely, honestly, the interaction with you that day also was super. Like I need to do that more often. At least maybe once a week, like once a month even. Try and find like a new person to just go and chat with like randomly. Like I do it every once in a while, but I feel like you were one of the only people that I'd like jumped in. You were like the first person I saw that day that was playing the same game, and I was like, oh yeah, let's go meet this person. Like I'm playing the same game. Let's talk to him about it, see what's happening. And you like immediately like you were talking to us. Like you weren't just there playing the game. You had cool things going on. It was a very natural experience, and that's why we've gotten to know each other. You know what I mean? So I'm glad before, like, I do have to kind of wrap this up here in a minute because
No, it's all good. We're at like 2 hours, 10 minutes,
yeah,
so
we
we're
can.
rocking.
I
We're
wanna,
in Joe Rogan's world now.
yeah, dude, we're going for 5 hours. No, we can chat again soon though, man. Like, I definitely enjoyed talking to you. But yeah, it's just it was a really nice. It was like one of those moments that you do have where it's just nice to see someone being genuine, and like having like a genuine conversation, and like getting to know someone and feeling comfortable about it quickly was like definitely it speaks to what you've done with like where you were from that day and where you've gone since then. I feel like yeah, definitely you I can't wait to see what you do next because I don't think there's really a limit to it. It's just figuring out how to just getting like finding the way to make those connections with new people is like really the hardest thing. Is finding a way to get new people to come to your channel to find your content. And if you're creating quality content or you have a good channel or you're making people feel special every time they stop by, like there's nothing that's going to happen but growth for you, you know? And I feel like you're doing a great job with it.
Well, thank you so much, brother. That means a lot to me. It really does. I mean, again, like I find you and Santa, I give you guys a lot of credit because you really did change my mindset on how to build this thing. But I know you got to get running, so we'll wind this thing down. Why don't you do a quick where my stuff is, where you can find me, what's coming up next, all that good stuff.
Um, I'm Game Pass Dad on all the social medias. So right now I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, Twitch. Most importantly, that's where I'm at. You can always find my channel and find my Discord from there if you want to get involved with what we got going on. I usually stream Wednesdays and weekends. That does depend on family and other things, but usually you can find me those nights around 9:30, 10 o'clock Eastern time. I also have like the Your Welcome Future Self podcast and the Game Pass Dad podcast, which you can find those everywhere. Those links are on my Twitch channel as well. Or
yeah, and we'll make sure that we have them all in the description below for those of you that want to check him out. Please do if you haven't yet. Least of all, I'll make sure that link is there for his album. It is a great little album, so make sure you hop on and listen to that too. So most definitely, Bob, thank you again, brother, for doing this.
Yeah, man.
I can't wait to do it again because it's just chill. I dig it. I dig where your mindset's at, and I enjoy having talks with you. But just hang on a second, and I will say goodbye to everybody, and then I'll say goodbye to you in real life ish.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, man.
No, for sure. Anytime, my man. All right, everybody. Thank you again for being here and checking out Game Pass Dad. Listen, guys, if you like what you see, make sure you hit that sub and turn on the bell for notifications. That way you know next time where everything is. Exactly. That's right. Point everywhere. So that'll be all down below. I'm not sure who we're going to have on next, but I know it's going to be somebody amazing. And Bob, dude, you make me laugh so much. And listen, again, you know how I like to end these things. We'll catch you on the flip flop, and I'm out. Everybody, I love you. Have a great day.